Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Schifrin, and I am calling the joint meeting with the Finance Committee to order here at 6:02 p.m. Could I have a roll call, please?
Veronica Cal present.
Laura Schifrin present. Would you all join me, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank all of our veterans and all of those currently serving, and all of our first responders for all that they do for our communities, as well as their families, definitely including the families from now on. The meeting is being...
I would
Yes,
like to thank
did you? Snowplow guys? Go ahead.
I would like to thank all the people in town who have pulled papers for our 20 or so open positions. And I would like to encourage others to get involved with the community and pull papers for the positions that have no one running. So thank you all very much, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Veronica. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. Is anyone else in the meeting room or on Zoom recording the meeting? If so, please announce yourself. All right, I don't hear any. Veronica just announced my additions and deletions regarding the elections and all those positions available. I'd like to go to 1.5, review, approve the meeting minutes of January 28th, 2025 and January 30th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move to approve meeting minutes of 1/28/2025 and 1/30/2025.
And I second. Any further discussion?
No.
No, thank you, Sabrina, for getting those to us in a timely manner so we could review them before now. Okay, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Okay, appointments and hearings 2.1. We're probably just about at 6:05, I think. Yep, on the nose. So we have a joint meeting with the trustees of Soldiers Memorial to appoint Peter Buxton as trustee to the trustees of the Soldiers Memorial effective February 18th, 2025 until town elections, April 28th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Walter Mann, Chairman of the Trustees of Soldiers Memorials. I call our meeting to order at 6:06. Roll call, Walter Mann, present.
Keith Jackson, present.
Ryan Borneman on Zoom.
Okay, so
Jason Borneman on Zoom.
Oh, good. Welcome. All right, so you have your call to order and you have a roll call. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we vote to approve the appointment of Peter Buxton to fill the unfilled vacancy for trustee non-veteran position effective February 18th, 2025 until town election. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have to do a roll call.
You have to do a roll call vote. So your name and how you vote, because you're virtual and in person. Okay? I'll let you go first and we'll do after.
Oh, okay. Walter Mann, aye.
Keith Jackson, aye.
Ryan Borneman, aye.
Jason Borneman, aye.
Okay, so you have an unanimous vote. And roll call, Veronica?
Aye.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you very much to all of you and Peter Buxton for volunteering. I will adjourn our joint meeting. Please, a motion to adjourn, Veronica.
I move that we adjourn the Select Board joint meeting with the trustees of Soldiers Memorial at 6:06 p.m.
Okay, second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Do you want to, Walter, do you want to adjourn your meeting?
I'll accept the motion to adjourn the meeting with the trustees at 6:07. Any discussion?
Is there a second?
Oh, a second.
Second, Keith Jackson.
Jackson.
If no discussion, you can have a roll call vote.
Okay, roll call vote. Walter Mann, aye.
Keith Jackson, aye.
Brian Borneman, aye.
Jason Borneman, aye.
Okay, I declare this meeting adjourned at
Yes.
6:07 p.m.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you.
Yeah, I know. I got my granddaughter sitting over.
So we are now at about 6:07 or 8. And we're calling for the joint meeting with the Finance Committee at 6:15.
Lori, did you want to maybe do 3.1, 3.2, or at least one of
Yes,
those?
I just wanted to ask. Okay, let's do that. Under 3, appointments of officials and personnel, 3.1, appointment of Jessica DeMio as, I hope I'm saying these names, sorry, as the police matron with effective start date of February 18th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move to appoint Jessica DeMeo as the police matron with an effective start date of 2/18/2025.
Okay, I second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. 3.2, appointment of David Langton as an on-call firefighter with effective start date of March 3rd, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move that we appoint David Langton as an on-call firefighter with an effective start date of March 3rd, 2025.
And I second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Okay, now we have still 5 minutes. What do you want to do, Nelson?
Yeah, we can go to 4.5 if you want.
Okay, 4.5, contract with Kimley Horn to perform surveying work on the Kids Country Playground project. Is there a motion?
I move to grant signatory authority to the land use coordinator, Aaron Steffield, to sign a contract with Kimley Horn to perform surveying work on the Kids Country Playground project.
Nelson, isn't that supposed to be you as the signatory authority?
I thought it was me, but then upon further review of the paperwork, the contractor had put Erin's name on it, and she's been working with them since the beginning. So I think her signing it would be perfectly fine. Since
Is she allowed to do that?
I thought all contract signatures had to come from the select board's office.
I mean, I can certainly have them revise the paperwork to say my name. So we could.
Yeah, because I'm concerned. Aaron resigned. Do I have the right person?
What's that?
Is that the Aaron that resigned?
Yeah, her last day is actually the 26th. That was one of my TA updates and reports, but yeah, she is resigning, as of next Wednesday. So, I can have the contractor, revise the paperwork to, have me as the person signing on behalf of the town. So we can, sort of amend the motion that, Veronica just read.
Okay, I would like to amend the motion to grant signatory authority to the town administrator, Nelson Wee, to sign a contract with Kimley Horn to perform surveying work on the Kids Country Playground project.
And I second that. Any further discussion? On the main motion now that's amended. Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. That takes care of 4.4. And what is 4.5 here? It looks like the same thing, and we have 2 minutes. Contract with Kimley Horn to perform.
No, that's what we
No,
just
that's
did.
the one.
That's what we just did, 4.5.
There's one before it for the walk bridge.
Okay, we can do that. 4.4, Mass Works $100,000 Walk Bridge Route 13 grant contract. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move to grant signatory authority to Nelson Wee, the town administrator, to sign the Mass Works $100,000 Walk Bridge Route 13 grant contract.
Second, any discussion? Hearing, seeing
No.
none. Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Okay, so that's that.
Veronica, 4.6, would you like to quickly go over
Yeah,
that? Or did you want to talk more about that?
no,
There's not much you can say.
all this is to have we have a housing authority, which is separate from the housing trust. The housing authority and the housing trust work kind of like this. But the housing authority is a state entity, and it requires a state appointed housing representative. And there's a process to becoming a state appointed representative. And so I would like to move that we appoint, that we post for and appoint once someone has been, that we post for someone to apply to be the state appointed housing representative. I think that's what I want to say.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that? Was that your motion?
That is my motion.
Okay, and I'll second that. And everything you said is correct. And it is a long process. It's very interesting, but you can interact with the state in that position. It's a good position if somebody's interested in housing.
I guess I would say something too, is that our housing authority right now is kind of at a standstill only because we have 2 appointed members, Natalie and Jack Moran. We have no state appointed representative, and we have 2 open positions, and we've received no volunteer response forms for that. One of those open positions, I believe, has to be someone that lives at either Outwood Acres or Townsend Woods, and nobody has stepped up. So right now we don't have quorum, and the housing authority can't meet. So it's really important that we people on that board and that we get a state appointed representative.
So if I can just add to that vacant seat, there is a tenant vacant seat.
Right.
But we need to look into that a little bit, because my understanding was that they being the state said that you could have another representative, but I'm not sure about that. Otherwise, the only place would be out of Atwood or Townsend Woods,
So,
which we did have at one time for about 2 years, but then that went away. Okay, so thank you, Veronica, for bringing that up. And now we are done. Do you want to call your meeting to order? I'm sorry, I went over.
wait, do we have to vote? I made a motion. I'm assuming you seconded it?
I did. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Roll
so
call.
we need to vote.
Okay, roll call. We had discussion.
We did. Veronica Cal, aye.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. And thank you again for bringing that up. Don, you have the floor.
Thank you. Um, At this point, I'd like to call the Towns and Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:17 PM. I don't see Sam on the list. So we'll do a roll voice attendance, please.
David Walker here.
Carol Hoffs is present.
Mary Jane Churchville here.
Don Hayes here.
Is Jerry here by Zoom?
I don't see. Jerry, are you here by Zoom? Computer glasses on. Let's see. Get that. I don't see her. So, with four, we do have a quorum, so
Oh, good. Okay.
call the meeting to order. And this meeting is being recorded and for playback on Channel 9 and posting on the YouTube. 1.4, the additions or deletions. At this point, I have no additions or deletions to the agenda for the evening.
So Don, I just
Yeah.
have one thing. I just want to let you know, remind you again that on February 25th, I will not be able to attend.
Right, and I did get an email from Sam today that said he wouldn't be here, so that's why we don't have Sam on the line. So I appreciate knowing in advance who may not be able to attend. I know we're meeting every Tuesday and Thursday is a lot for the month, so. Yeah. With
Don,
that,
if you may for a minute, there's one caller on the Zoom, and I don't know who that is. If the phone number 508-523-9587 could identify themselves?
drop. Yeah, okay. No.
Let's see. He unmuted and then muted again.
I don't see the mute or the video icon.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, he's unmuted now. Can you tell me who you are, please, at 508-523-9587?
Yeah, it's Jessica Demio.
Oh, hi, Jessica. Yes, we just appointed you. All right.
Hi,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay, bye. Thank you for identifying yourself. Go ahead, Don.
Okay, and let me see if I have the opportunity to share. And this is a call out to TCAM. This is Don Hayes. Would you allow me to share my screen? Okay, okay. Just to share the screen and to look at it first. Budget we have before us tonight is veteran. I did not find it in the book. I did not find file. So my assumption is we're going back to the BDA. Okay. I do have. I guess the question for Nelson is, it's a stipend position, is that gonna be a 4% increase on the agents?
I think keeping in line with everything that we've seen, and I do see last year was, you know, it was 4% too, so I think keeping in line with things, it should be another. But everything else should stay the same.
I guess if we look at their office supplies and dues and membership, they really haven't used much this year, if we're.
Yeah, the memberships for some reason jumped significantly. And it was basically zero last year.
Okay.
So,
We can just reach out and let's see if there's gonna be additional organizations that you need memberships for. And then maybe readjust that as we get closer to the budget summit.
okay, I'll talk to now.
And the same on office supplies, I suspect they need some, but we haven't used any yet to this point in December.
Okay.
And then the last lines is the veteran benefit other services, which has started to be used. I did a quick look at the cherry sheets, and it looks like the state is going to go for 29,000 this year, so I think it's up about 7,000 over the last years.
And it's been flat at 7,500 the last couple of years, so.
Yeah. So I think we get something from the state to put it in there, the rest we make a operating budget. That one. We'll get a look at that if we put together the omnibus, mention omnibus. How is that coming along?
It's good. I've had like a very rough version, because I've been putting everything in there. I've only started entering in sort of the revisions as a result of these meetings, so I haven't quite put them in yet. But there is a rough version of it that I'm happy to share with everyone. Actually, Veronica asked for a copy this afternoon, so I'm happy to share with everyone.
Okay, and then we have that opportunity to look at it and see, because again, with the new members, it's kind of, they haven't seen the full omnibus yet.
Yep,
so.
it's it can be quite daunting if you look at it.
I asked that it be updated like every Monday from what went the week
From
before.
the Tuesday, Thursdays.
Yeah, so that
so
we could stay up to date on that.
So yeah, I can start doing that. Luckily, there's been some changes here and there, and I've already started tweaking it this afternoon. So
we haven't. There hasn't been a lot, but they'll give us the opportunity to see the bottom line and take a look at it, and start looking and comparing where revenues are going to be for the year.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if, I mean, this is school, but can we put in, we have the increase for Neshoba. So we can put that in the omnibus, and could we at least put a 2.5% in for the school district?
As we did with it, that's what we started with last year, until we have North Middlesex final number.
Okay, I don't want to see a zero, in other words.
Oh, no,
for North Middlesex.
That's how we
is what
started
I'm
it, and
saying.
then it was changed to zero later on.
Yeah, I did put in the number that was presented to us at the meeting a couple of weeks ago, because they did present that number. I realized it's not final because they actually vote on the budget on the 26th. So, but I had to put something in there because zero doesn't quite work, and it's certainly going to increase. So I just put it in there because that's what they presented. So,
Okay.
Yep. It's a
That
starting
works.
point.
Yeah, correct.
Just so there's a number other than zero
Yep.
for North Middlesex.
No. I think that hurt us last year is by putting a zero in to go to town meeting with a balanced budget with zero, knowing that we need to increase.
So,
And again, we're working really on.
so Don, I guess I have on what is the veteran benefits other services line? Because last year that was also budgeted 75,000, but they only used 26,000.
Okay, now with last year, the veterans, we had a veterans agent for multiple years, and he retired, and we went without the position for a while.
Okay.
And the towns of Air and Pepperell were helping us out, so it might have been low for that reason.
Okay.
But again, some of the history that comes with it haven't been there a couple of years.
Yeah. So what do those other services entail? Do you know?
I don't know in detail. We can ask Natalie. But I'm assuming it's setting up for housing and other things.
So they don't go to the VA for that?
Some they do, but so we'll get Natalie to give us a breakdown of what that.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding the veteran? All right, sorry, nothing from you. Moving on, next item on the agenda, Council on Aging. I'm going back and forth. Do you want to look at the table or? It's the salmon or peach.
It's at the. It's after the library. There's a blank divider.
Oh, okay.
And it's right. So it's after that.
It's
After that. Oh, there it is.
Anything else, please? It is up. Just really quickly, we do have two new members with us in this day on the finance committee, so I appreciate you coming here. Introduce yourself. I know we went through so that roll call, but Dave.
Dave Walker.
Hi.
Hi.
Carol Hofstas.
Carol.
I see you every week.
Yes.
Yeah, I see her every week.
I'm Mary Jane Churchville. Hi, nice to meet you.
So, yes, I know there's a lot of interaction with the town and we're all.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
Okay, with that, we want to start on the summary sheet or detail sheet?
So is this a union position or?
Each, as director, are you contract?
Yes, I'm on
And
the, yes.
everybody else is in the.
Not everyone.
Okay.
I'm in the supervisory union. Would you like me to list everyone who's in the other union?
That would help, yeah.
You want the names or positions? Because it's
Positions.
probably-
Okay, assistant director is union. Program coordinator / outreach, that's one position, also union. The kitchen manager / volunteer coordinator is also union. And that's it.
Looking for the kitchen manager.
She's under the formula grant. She's not under
Yeah,
the municipal wages.
Top line 66. And on the spreadsheet, sorry.
That might be on the
Yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah.
So that position's not paid out of the town budget then?
And everybody else is union?
Those, the assistant director, program coordinator, kitchen manager, the union, clerical union. And yes, and that is also clerical union.
And I was gonna say, it does say non-municipal labor. We have the kitchen volunteer, we have, the whole regional transit.
But that is a union position.
The transportation coordinator?
That is union, you're right, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I forgot that one.
Yep.
Currently, there's no one in that role, but,
Oh.
that is a union position.
Oh, the van driver you're talking about.
Well, is there a
Yes,
transportation coordinator?
Administration?
Um,
Transportation admin.
Yep.
So,
But that's also not out of the town budget?
Correct, it's not out of the town budget.
Okay.
how does that get paid?
By the LR, the Lowell Regional Transit Authority
Oh,
pays the salary. And
For
and
the
pays the
drivers.
van drivers as well.
well, it comes out of low.
Mm-hmm.
Even though all the buses say market.
No, not the COA buses.
Yeah.
They
Not the
say
COA, okay.
LRTA.
Mm-hmm.
We have both.
Okay.
And I can go into why if
Yeah.
you want to
No, no,
know
no,
why,
I-
but we have both.
We have both and some of the, yeah, I've seen the programs, but the March bus I'm always seeing going
Yeah.
by my house.
That's because of the MBTA communities.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a long story.
So basically only the first block here on that front page, yourself and the other 4 people come from the town budget.
That's correct.
Okay.
I
But-
did,
But as far as union goes, the 2 that are not from the town budget are also union. correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So do those individuals only work in this town, or do they work across the region?
Just in this town.
Yes, here.
Two, yes. Well, so there's no one right now currently as transportation administrator. She resigned as of the beginning of January. We have not filled that role yet. And then, the Donna Fenton under formula grant works only in this town, yes.
Now, are you responsible for filling that position, or is that done by the Lowell Transit?
No, we are, Greg and I, as my assistant director, we have been learning the role to see what it actually needs. I don't think it needs as many hours as the position calls for. And that is why we haven't filled it.
Okay.
That was put in place before I came in as director.
Mhm.
So are you gonna plan to fill it, or are you just gonna wait and see what it's gonna look like when you discuss it?
We had talked about, I don't know if I should bring this up now, but can I talk about Becky?
Maybe not right now because
Okay.
we still have the select board budget
Okay,
to discuss
All right,
amongst the select board
Okay.
first.
all right.
So that's not for public knowledge.
I wouldn't say it's not, but we're discussing it
It's
as
not
a board.
decided yet.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like
hasn't
it'll be
been.
on your
So
agenda.
it's undecided.
Yeah, and actually it is on our agenda tonight to discuss after we adjourn, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, on the worksheet, I did, follow up, because they weren't very clear in the percentages, just so that, so the salaries and the wages are within, the 4.7 is the result on the labor sheet, with the one employee has, worked long enough with us, that, and now eligible for longevity, so there's a $600 longevity coming in this year.
Which one is that? They all have it. Oh,
that- they're
Donna
all listed.
Fenton?
This would be Janet Cody.
Janet Cody. When's she?
She's on the
Oh, I
She's
see
down
her.
here.
Oh, she's down here.
yeah, so,
And so that stipend is new, and that
okay,
So that's gonna go up to 600?
it's kind of like that's where
I get it,
longevity
I
is.
see
It's
it,
kinda
yeah.
like, but,
Yeah, okay.
what that does, if you take that $600 out, the percentages are exactly what we see.
Everybody goes up 2%.
It should go up 4.
No, sorry, it's kind of like, so if we look at column J out here on the screen, these are the actual, I think these were just hand typed in at 2% in column G. So they're not 2% raises, they're actually 4%.
All of them?
Raises.
All of them are 4%?
Yeah, plus or minus a tiny bit, yeah.
All 4%.
What is the plus or minus a tiny bit? Why isn't it 4 exactly on this?
From the wage tables that was supplied to us, I took the numbers right off the tables.
Yeah, so like it's, to the penny, so
Right.
sometimes it's, if you want to be super accurate, you probably need like 3 decimal places to get exactly 4%. So sometimes it's like 3.99 or sometimes it's like 4.0.
Okay.
There were
The rounding.
4.03 to 3.97.
So if we did like fractions of a penny, we would get exactly 4%.
And again, that may be why people take there and don't want it up.
Right. Actually, I've been in towns where they actually go to the third decimal for the rates to get that.
Okay, to get them exact.
Yeah.
But you can't pay somebody half penny on the, on the hour. We don't have half pennies anymore.
Right.
So, any other questions? Right back. And on the expense side, this is relatively straightforward. Bottom lines are it's being reduced by about $700 total. But some individual lines are going up, and communications is totally going away.
Is that why it's lower? What do you mean communications going?
The communications line is going from 2375 down to 0.
So they have no phone, no radio, no?
I think it's not a separate charge, it's part of the town, and part of the internet phone system that's connected here.
But it's mainly due to Comcast, we getting rid of the Comcast.
And the two putting in the fiber optic line.
Yeah.
So that line was their modem and PC connection to the internet, so that is no longer needed with the upgrades we did as part of the ARPA projects.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. So they've got 600. Their equipment increased to Xerox.
Right.
Now, is that contractual increases or?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Xerox is a service contract, as well as the UniFirst service contract.
No, is that because of use? Did they?
The Xerox?
Yes.
Yes, it's an older machine, and we had to go with the contract to.
For maintenance.
Yes, maintenance,
I get
yes.
it.
It's more than paid for itself so far.
Oh,
Our first bill would have been over $2,500 to have the machine repaired. And we're paying about $175 a quarter for this contract.
So we're gonna get a new machine soon?
We've been talking about it, but it won't be paid for by the town if we do.
Oh. Really?
We're hoping for a donation on that.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. That's good to know. So that's the professional services. What? I can't even read
I
that
know.
word.
Oh, okay.
That's our.
It's a software vendor.
Oh, your software. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually had a decrease because they went. The library did, which cost us them less and us less.
Oh,
A shared system.
nice, okay. Good work. Good work.
Library good work.
Yeah, the library always.
If I could say something, we're reducing our budget here, but we've seen a huge increase in the use of the senior center, the use of the senior center, the services, the events and all that. We've increased in calendar year 24, we increased our events, programs, services and all that by over 7%. And at the same time, we had a 23% increase in active users at the senior center. More than 50% of them are Townsend residents. We do, where we have one of the nicest buildings around, we do get a big draw from the surrounding towns. More than 50% of Townsend residents. And we also track sign-ins, people that are actually attending programs, using our services. That went up 22% last year to over 21,000 sign-ins. The place is really utilized.
Thank goodness we got the addition.
Yeah, but we did lose some budget and we had to cut back some hours too.
Right.
So there are trade-offs going on here.
But at least there's space for everything.
Yes, there is space.
So you cut back hours of opening?
Yeah.
And how's that gonna impact the 22%?
We'll see in next year's numbers.
Oh, that just happened this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
just at the beginning of February. We cut back some evening hours on, we were open until 8 on Wednesdays. We cut it back to 4. And it's not highly utilized during those hours. So there was the least amount of impact. And this kind of stemmed from the loss of our transportation administrator who filled some of those evening hours and
Now, do some of the events that are held there, are there charges to the groups having the events?
well, no, we don't charge groups for stuff. We have like instructors that will charge individual patrons directly. Like the president does yoga classes,
Right.
they each pay her $5
Okay,
when they attend the class.
okay,
We aren't part of that whole transaction.
sure,
We have craft instructors that will collect a small fee, usually to pay for materials, that kind of stuff.
okay,
The stuff we typically charge for is meals, because we don't have the money in
sure,
the town
yeah,
to provide a meals program.
right,
So we charge $5 per meal, which for the most part will pay for the service.
okay, I was curious, like, if, the baseball league or the soccer league uses the room, is there a charge to them to use the meeting room?
No, but we don't have a lot of that happening. I don't know.
The meeting room is
I can answer that if you want.
Sure,
So the meeting call actually belongs to the Board of Selectmen, the meeting call itself. A long
Okay.
time ago, we had a committee of probably 10 people or so. And a lot of people in the committee did not want the responsibility of keys and opening and closing. And it conflicted with the library and the senior center needing to use it for their programs. So the committee disbanded. The town has policy, but they changed the policy to say there's no paid usage of the room. It's just for any kind of town entity or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, nonprofits can use the room for free. So they
Okay.
scheduled through the library. They'll fill out an official form, and if they meet the criteria and the room is, free,
okay,
then they can use it. But we don't do like birthday parties or collect fees or anything like that. There was nobody to clean up after any of those things. There was damage. People want an event coordinator, so it was a very difficult thing to manage.
right. No, I remember, because
Yeah.
when my son was in Boy Scouts, we used the room once in a while.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
we always clean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
always had to clean afterwards. We
Yeah,
always did
yeah,
our own
and the Boy
cleaning
Scouts and
afterwards.
Girl Scouts will still use the rooms and things like
Yeah,
that, so,
okay.
yeah.
And is that policy on the library website then?
We just redid our website. It is. It
Okay,
is.
because
I
I'm not
believe it is.
seeing it under our policies.
So you guys should have that. The last time that we redid the policy, I think Eric was here.
Right.
I can talk with Sabrina and Nelson about, the latest copy and make sure that they get it up
Yeah,
there to you guys.
Because I don't see it.
But we definitely reviewed it with Sabrina and Eric. I believe it was it when Karen was still here right
Yes.
before she left?
Yes.
Right,
That was
so-
after my first time
Yeah,
around.
yeah. So,
Okay.
so yeah, it should live somewhere over here, but I
It
don't know
should.
where.
And it got, when the website moved over, things like that got lost. And so we're just trying to find everything.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
can make
asked.
sure that,
That's all.
you guys have the copy that we have too, and we can move that forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and just so we've seen others with the electricity, heat and water, and all of these are taken care of by the facilities department. And the bills come in there, so that's why we don't see anything on council on aging.
Can I just ask, are there grant funds that the senior center gets based on the usage?
The formula grant is
Yeah.
based on how many elders are in Townsend. So we
Okay.
get $16 per elder as of FY '26.
And an elder is,
A senior, I'm sorry, a senior.
what's the age on that?
16 older.
60
yes,
and
yes.
over. Okay.
Yes, and that's how
Okay.
we pay Donna,
Right.
the volunteer coordinator. I mean, yes, kitchen manager, volunteer coordinator gets paid out of the formula grant.
Any other questions? Budget was good, everybody? Laura, are you there? Any questions from you? Okay.
Good job, because none of the numbers had to get changed.
Yeah, I was gonna say this, and the
thank
years
goodness.
were all set.
Interesting.
Because that's where people have been, the fiscal years haven't been updated on all the forms.
Oh, okay.
And some of the numbers are lost. I did fill in some of the numbers on the main worksheet I brought through your labor numbers and expense numbers, just so that we could have the comparison year over year. That's the only thing I did. Just so that we could see the comparison numbers on the sheet. I don't have any additional questions. None being heard. Sure. Thank you. for your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Okay, council on aging, senior center is complete. Library on the hot seat.
You want me to go over there?
If you would, I appreciate it. It's kind of like, and, while we're here and before the introductions, could you ladies introduce yourself just for the rest of the teams? I don't know who goes to the library, who knows you or not.
So I am Selena Thomas. I am a library board trustee. Sally Goodrich, I'm the chair of the trustees.
And
I'm Stacy Shetler, the library director.
thank you. It's kind of like, yeah,
I try to have one thing for
you
new
can.
members of the finance committee. Trustees kind of are like Stacy's boss for the library.
What is directed?
We kind of fall outside the select board a little for the purpose of not having conflicts of interest and stuff like that. So. Kind of
State rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Library
Yeah.
state rules.
All the rules.
Alright, let's see. And I did,
So the library is in the same section.
Yeah, right before.
So everybody all set to. Any questions to start, any lead in, or do you want to just go right to looking at the numbers?
I do have, I printed out some of the, I sent this to John earlier. This is some of the requirements that the state has for, so we receive, state aid monies each year, and, this is what qualifies us. Do you want a paper copy, John?
No, I'm also.
Okay, all right.
Just so you know, if anybody else in the room is looking, it's up on the screen.
Okay. So this is.
That, I guess that'll,
This will explain what are the items in the. expense.
yeah, so when we get to it, it's just good to have it when Don gets to it.
When we get to the.
Yeah.
the expense.
And I also have this that was, from the Mass Board, I only printed one, from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. It kind of, they break down, what the library budget is in comparison to the rest of the town.
Can you find this on the DLS website?
You can. Actually, yeah, I can send you the link to it, the direct link, if you would like.
Oh, yeah.
The MDLC sent me that.
Yep. Yes.
Probably, yeah.
This is.
There's a lot of different,
By general area and the library.
statistics you can look up through
Oh,
there.
this is the Townsend, is it town Townsend budget?
Oh.
And the blue slice is the library.
Look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it's 1.64% of the total budget.
1.64.
We did work for a while. The average, I think, statewide is like 2%. When 9 years ago when I got on board, we were at like 1%.
We're working.
We're about where
You where you want to be.
Yeah. Sure.
This is interesting.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the orange the schools?
No, yeah.
Well, the pink, whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever.
The big one.
Pink.
Well,
It's not that big, are you kidding?
Are you
What?
kidding?
It's more than.
It's huge.
I knew that was gonna get a rise. out of something.
I'm going 66.
Education.
Round it up.
Which is
You're supposed to round it out.
57.
60%.
Yeah, okay.
And rising.
Yes.
And rising.
That's
Okay.
a really good
And
chart.
this one is not on a spreadsheet, so it's just a PDF file, so it's four down.
So, just out of curiosity, on your salary, Stacy, the longevity is only $900. Is that something that's set? Because everywhere else I see it.
It's because we're not union, I think. I don't know. Actually, we were just talking about that over here.
Pulled up the longevity
Mhm.
rate.
So I don't know.
15 years looks like 10 years. 10 years
Yeah.
looks like 6
I was always
5 years
confused
looks like 3.
by like Karin when she did the, the senior center prior to Elise. They got a lot more longevity than the library staff, but she said it was because of union.
Well,
So
you're not union.
We're not union. None of us are union.
So that would go to
That makes sense.
the,
I just looked up the personal quality state. It says 5 years is
300.
10 years
Is 600.
and
through
15
the,
years
the
is
regular,
900.
the
Right.
personnel policies and
Right.
procedures.
Right,
Okay.
right. So all the people who qualify for longevity at this point in the library have been there for longer than 15 years.
I see.
Yeah.
They put on these 900.
They all get 900, yes.
So that is because you're not union.
I think,
I'm going with
yeah,
that.
okay,
No.
okay, yeah, I'm not sure.
Everybody in the library is non-union,
Right.
if I remember right.
I have a contract and the rest of the staff is non-union.
Right.
So you don't get a clothing allowance either.
No, no clothing allowance, no.
And then Bradley and shared between 6 or 7 people, the tax.
Yes,
So rather than list them individually,
I say it's $21.57 an
because they
hour.
do rotate a little bit, it's kind of like the.
Yeah.
Manages that line on a separate spreadsheet.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Monthly, just to manage, make sure it stays within budget. Just
Yeah.
Show me the details if anybody's interested, I'm sure.
yes. I called it math for the insanity, but I think Don called it.
So it's got, so salaries are just.
I was actually looking at Stacy's contract.
Yeah. And then how long are your contracts for? Are they
3 years, so the trustees will be redoing my contract again in
July 1st.
July 1st.
The
is
next
when-
one is due.
Yeah.
questions on
No,
everything put together well?
that's good, you can read it, it's big.
And and I will say, there's only one piece down on the personnel summary.
Okay.
It's no big deal. It just shows the FY 24 and FY 25 for your full-time equivalents.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
There's so many of them that we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
FY
it hasn't
25,
changed.
FY 26.
Yeah, it hasn't changed, so.
No, that's been
yeah.
constant.
Yeah, so we just have to change the
Yep.
numbers here.
Change the cell with the header.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
It's not a
Okay.
formula or anything.
Okay.
So, on this handout, are you gonna explain the handout?
Yeah, so let's go down, I'll scroll down to the expense, when you're on the expense line. That is, that's associated with the books and materials line, is that, do I have that correct?
Yes,
formula?
so the formula, so we receive approximately $30,000 or so a year from the state in two separate payments as long as we remain certified. Part of our certification requirements are based on these formulas here. So one of the things is there is a minimum number that our overall budget needs to be, which is the red number. If we went below 441,349 for FY 26, then we would have to apply for a waiver. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's basically what they're looking for our total number to be. They take the last 3 fiscal years, and then they divide it by 3. It's this formula here on this line, and that's how they come with their magic certification number. The materials requirement is items that we buy for patrons checkout use. That includes ebooks and regular books and materials that you would check out from the library, electronic equipment that people would check out from the library, our library of things. If we buy new computers for the public use, that would count towards that as well, for that materials requirement. So basically they take the number and they multiply it by 0.16. That 70,000 is our number. Now we qualify for something because we're open 40 hours a week. We actually only have to pay the 0.16. If we were open less hours, we'd have to pay more. They up your materials requirement. I think it's a protective thing from the state. They don't want libraries' hours to be cut. So that's one way that they protect libraries' hours. So anyways, because we're open for the amount of hours we're open for, we qualify to spend the 70,000 instead of the 83,000.
How many total hours are you open a week?
40. Well, 40, I think, well, right now, during the winter hours, it's 44 hours.
Okay, so with the Sundays.
Yeah.
Without that, it's 40.
Hold on, I could be wrong. Wait.
Funded by the town, the Sundays
Right.
are funded privately, so.
Wait.
Are they still privately funded?
Actually, it's
Sundays? What's that?
I'm
rate?
wrong. I think we're open 48 hours a week. Wait, we're open, we're open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're open 10 hours a day. And then Monday and Friday, we're open 7. So that's 44. We're open Saturdays most of the year. So that's 48 hours. And then we have the Sunday hours that are paid for by the Friends of the Library. So right now we're open 52 hours a week. It's a lot of hours.
So
That's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So without the Sunday, what was it again? I'm sorry.
48.
48. But you have to stay open 40 in order to qualify for the lower.
Right. There's a number. Yeah. I think it's not quite 4. I think it's a little bit less than that. I'll have to look into that. I can get you the number if you want it.
Sure.
But so we close
We also have to have some evening hours. There's other qualifications. So you have to have certain days that you're open after 5 o'clock. I think they require 3 days after 5 o'clock. And you have to have some weekend hours, which we have Saturday hours September through June, and then we close for July and August in the summertime so that we can bank those hours so I can use them when people go on vacation. Because like Don was mentioning, I have a pot of money that those same few people work from, and so they cover if some of the full-time employees go on vacation.
I see.
Or sick.
This is formula based
Yeah,
to get the state funds.
Right.
funding
Right.
and the rate, yeah.
Yeah.
For that. So that's where in the FY 20.
And how much is the state? So the state funding's not in here because this is the
No,
expenditure.
they give us about right now, because our circulation's so high, they base it on circulation. So we are up to about it's about $32,000 a year or so that we receive in 2 lump sums. So we get one in November, December, and one in like March, April.
So that's 15,000 per
It's
month?
about, it's getting closer to
Roughly.
16,000. Yeah.
To offset this expense worksheet.
What's that?
And that money offsets this expense.
Oh, yeah, because this $2,000 that we asked for sorry, I'm laughing, office supply, or $1,500, it went down. $1,500 doesn't even begin to cut the mustard on the
even the whole library, we do it
Yeah.
$1,500.
Oh,
That's
so
state
you've
aid.
taken out the state aid from your expenses for this.
Well, no, because state aid doesn't go in here. We get state aid because the town pays the correct amount that the state requires. The state requires the town to pay so much money based on this formula, and the town has always done that. So we get our state aid money. We use the state aid money to offset a lot of the things that we don't ask the town for. Like if we buy a set of ink for one of the computers, it's about $700 and something for a full set of ink. So we buy a full set of ink about 3 times a year. So right there, that doesn't even cover book covering supplies or processing supplies or any of the other things. So we offset a lot of that with the state aid money. So usually in April, when we get the second state payment, that's when we purchase most of our office supplies for the library. We're like, woo, time to buy our supplies so we can do our stuff and the tape and the. You say woo. Yeah.
So one of the smallest dues and subscriptions lines we've seen.
Yeah, that actually just gets Molly and I the membership to the Massachusetts Library Association. So everything else had been paid by special other funds. If last year we went to the Massachusetts Library Association conference because we had ARPA funds to pay for it. So they paid for all of the dues and memberships for all of my staff. So it never seemed the right time to increase that. We never really had any money in that line. So Molly and I have not really gotten to go to very many conferences. Over the years, the Friends of the Library just paid for us to go to an MLA conference in Phoenix because when the ARPA funding went away. But that was nice and it was interesting. And we found out we're doing a really good job because the Brooklyn Public Library director sat with us and he said, these two really know what they're talking about. And we felt really good. We were like, okay. That was the highlight of the conference, really.
Yeah. So what are the other purchase services?
So other purchase services are, so the photocopy, we have a photocopy maintenance agreement, which is $400. And CW Mars memberships, which is our library network, how we do all of our circulation and processing. Our calendar, our scheduling software that we share with the senior center. We pay the larger portion because we use most of it. And our deep freeze reboot software licenses, which keep the computers private. So every night it goes into a deep freeze and, it clears anything that would have been left out. Patrons are supposed to log completely out when they leave, but the deep freeze erases everything every night. And our internet desktop support. So all of our, so this whole $26,831 is our desktop support, which they do all of our computer support for us.
Essentially, it's all the computer.
Yeah.
They separated from the town and using Guardian.
Right.
Last year, the year before.
I think it's kind of
It's like the library, we got a really good deal when we changed away
Yeah.
from Guardian, because the library networks have their own maintenance.
support, yeah.
And they know library needs.
Right.
They're a private IT company, so and it was less money.
Yeah, we pay $2,675 for all of our IT support.
So,
For the whole library.
so you
Right.
don't use Guardian, which is the town.
Right.
Right. Just wanted to bring that up because again, I've been around during that transition.
Because you have your own library.
Well, Molly, who's the assistant director, she does all of the unboxing and a lot of the, assessing. And then we call CW Mars, they do all of our, if the printers are offline or we have any kind of, suspicious IT things, they go in and they can solve everything. So Molly kind of does like the unboxing and everybody runs it past her like, hey, should I call CW Mars for this? And she says, yes, or no, did you plug the cable in before you call somebody?
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it works really well for our needs.
That's good to know. So books and material, that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yes, yep, that's.
Any additional questions?
I'm still kind of looking here, it's the longevity thing. Part-time people don't get longevity?
No,
Or they do?
they don't. It says in the policy manual they
That
don't.
they should.
No,
Do you have anybody that has been there for 10 years?
yes, but in the town policy, it says that they don't get it.
No, it says that they should.
It
They should?
says
Oh,
that
when
they
did that
do.
change?
It's always been there.
That's why Janet Cody was part-time, not in the union, got her first longevity payment. Because
So we're missing some, like, don't know.
You have to be 10 years. You don't
Okay,
get longevity until 10
All right,
years.
so then, so then Laureen would qualify now.
I don't know, because I don't know
Yeah,
who
yeah.
the part-time people are, but
Yeah, no, I was just,
you guys might want to look at that.
okay. I do feel like it wasn't always that way, though. I'm just gonna say that.
It is
wasn't-
the same
When did they
policy.
change that? I'm sorry, Greg. What?
When I filled out the spreadsheet for the last fiscal year, I went through the policy, it was not there. When I did it for this year, it had changed. So
Okay, thank you.
sometime in that year.
Okay, because I've been doing this for 15 years. I was like,
Okay,
there's no
so
way I
let
missed
me-
that for 15 years.
So what we have here could be an old policy, if you're looking online for the policy.
I have.
So what happened when the system switched over, the policies I've been going through the policies and pulling in the real ones, because the ones that are up, we reverted back, I don't know how many years. I don't know where they got these from, but the policies are not necessarily up to date. I didn't realize that the personnel wasn't. So don't quote me on that then, because
This is the one that's online.
Okay,
if you look at the one that's online, it's here. But,
right.
and I didn't memorize everything from,
So what
3
I'm
to 5
wondering,
years ago.
it goes in line with what,
I got mine through an email,
okay, I don't,
and I don't remember who I got it from.
You would have gotten it from Callie, because she's the person that should have.
I'm gonna have to look back, because I don't think I got, but there was a lot of confusion for a while there about my email. People had my email address wrong. They had one S at the beginning of it, and I was blocked for a little while. So it could have been around that time that I didn't receive that. Because that they did change all that part-time, to receive holiday pay. And I'm assuming maybe they did that around the same time, which
We need an updated policy.
I think another distinction might be, part-time or fractional employees. I think,
Oh, right,
yeah.
right, right.
so, I think a fractional.
I don't have any part-time employees. A fractional
So-
is less than 19 hours, right?
So I think they unfortunately wouldn't probably qualify
Okay,
for
that's,
longevity.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay, that
yeah.
makes sense. I don't have any
What's the
part-time employees.
distinction between
A fractional employee is 19 and a half hours or less per week. A part-time employee, unless, has that changed?
Like,
No, that sounds about right, yeah. And
Melissa
then,
Dunnett told us that there's no difference between fractional and part-time employees receiving the holiday pay.
Well, the fractional employees do receive the holiday pay. That, yes, but I'm just talking about longevity on the policy here that is online. So that's something I need clarified for me, is do fractional employees qualify for longevity?
I mean, according to this, it's longevity, employees eligible for longevity are either full-time employees or part-time employees.
Okay,
So it doesn't,
I don't have any part-time employees. I only have full-time and fractional
yeah,
employees.
so yeah, I think, those folks, the fractional wouldn't qualify for.
Okay.
What are you looking at? Are you looking at the policies that are online under personnel policies and procedures
Where did I get this?
for select board policies?
Um,
Because that doesn't look anything like what I'm looking at. Are they dated? I can't find a date on this. I think that what's up online, if you go to selectmen's policies, is old.
so this is Article 15, if you can scroll down to 15.
Performance.
It's gonna be in writing somewhere, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
and longevity.
I know.
But if you scroll down, maybe you'll see what I'm
looking at and trying to organize them, so.
I
That
did
would be
a
good.
search on longevity, that's how I wound up there.
I think that's a.
There's
good
no
place
date
to
on the
start.
one online either.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, I need to talk to Callie.
And I'm
about
not so sure, and it could have gotten changed in the past.
We have to.
So I guess the question is, do
2 years.
fractional employees qualify for longevity?
that. Yeah.
And if they do, let me know. Because I'll have to change my budget.
I will ask that question.
Because it has not said that in anything that I have come across. And I know that I went through this when they made the other change with holiday pay, that I don't have any part-time employees. They're all fractional or full-time.
Shouldn't a policy have a date on it?
Well, yes, it should. One would think, but things got lost in that transition. A lot of the policies just got backed up many years. And so we've been slowly, some I know about because I was involved in changes, and some I don't know about. And I don't have access to my email during my last time as a select board person, and everything was done through email. So it's really a handicap, but we asked Harrison to get from Civic Plus the libraries that were in place prior to, and so we are going to be getting those. So, and then we can put the most recent policies that have dates.
Yeah.
But it just got dropped.
That's not good. How long is that put in?
June 1st
Of
was
this
when
year?
that happened, yeah.
The migration from the civic class.
And so I'm looking at
just
policies and
figuring
my
out
eyes are crossing because it's not what I remember. And it's because it's old. So I don't know.
So that's that information is critical for this budget.
Well,
I mean,
it
I
could
don't know.
be, yeah.
Yeah, there'd only
Like
be,
for
I believe
this,
there'd only be
but-
one person.
Oh, okay.
Because I only have 3 positions that work about somewhere between 15 and 19 hours a week, and the other ones are per diem. So they only work maybe Saturdays or fill in. I have 2 people who fill in. I mean, Meg works once every 3 months or so, and Lori and Haley work the Saturdays for 4 hours most of the year. But
So
so
it's
they
not-
would not,
it-
they're not
really,
even,
yeah,
they're not
it's
even
not-
fractional. They're considered like, I can't remember. I had this conversation a while back. They're not considered, but I only have 3 people who would be considered the fractional ones that would be qualifying for that, and only one of them has been there for longer than 10 years.
I'll find out for you, but I mean, I think, there is a distinction between a part-time employee and a fractional.
And I
employee.
think people think that anybody who is not a benefited employee, I think they immediately think it's part-time. So I had to get that into my head and try to explain to people that there are fractional and then there's part-time. And part-time is more than 19 and a half hours, but not all the way, not 40 hours. But yeah, so.
Wow, how much more complicated can it get?
Here we go, there's definitions.
Yeah.
Fractional,
Yeah.
regular, seasonal, blah,
Good
blah,
Lord.
blah.
Yeah.
Um,
a full-time employee is actually anyone that works more than 30 hours.
30?
30
Yeah.
or more, yeah.
Yeah.
because we're only.
So a 40-hour
7 hours.
thing that you see in the private sector doesn't apply to.
Oh, to municipal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
At least
so
here,
part-time.
I know some places
Yeah,
are
you're right.
35, for example,
Uh-huh.
but here in town,
At least
anything over
20
30 is considered full-time.
Yeah, yeah.
And is that set by the Board of
For 10
Selectmen? I mean,
consecutive
how does that get set?
Yeah.
Mm,
The personnel policies and procedures.
The part about full-time being 30 hours versus.
It was when this
40.
policy went into place, that's when it was determined. Now, whether that's a state guideline or, I don't know.
There probably is some guidance, because otherwise we can make up random thresholds. But I think there's some state or federal guidelines that we have to follow, and, and then there's probably a little bit of, wiggle room that cities and towns can, depending on the budget.
Customization,
Yeah.
customization for, and like,
Customization.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Local
I've
rules.
always set guidelines.
Okay.
You need to
We'll
use
go
the
with
guidelines.
customization. I just have to compliment the seniors in the library. This is a great budget.
Thank you.
Especially the new people.
Yeah.
You can read it, it's
It's still, it was,
understandable.
yeah, they
They
follow it.
explained
it's kinda like-
everything, they explained all
And there
their.
was, yep, all the questions
nuances.
were answered. Very good. Just one last round to make sure we get everything for library. No additional questions.
Question, Karen?
No, so good.
Laurie, anything from you?
Is it possible that she can't hear us?
It's possible.
No, she's still here.
Yeah.
She's still on. Oh, no, she's here.
Go on.
Yep, she's
Okay.
there. Yep.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, just wanted to check and see if you had any questions.
I do not.
Okay, then we thank you, Stacy, and friends of the library, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. Good information.
Yep.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Right. Good night.
I just realized I still have my winter hat on.
It's okay, it's cold in here.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Oh, boy.
Okay, thank you all. Well, let's hope we're going to ask for that standard. Yeah. And that's, I mean, we've seen some others. They all haven't been to the same level, but.
Not even close.
Okay, so. That is it for what we had for this evening on the reviews, because we were in the middle of the Board of Selectmen meeting, so they had other work, so we had to somewhat keep it short, about 3-hour sessions like we had done.
Last week.
Thank goodness.
Last week, the week before, like there's been some long ones.
Yeah.
So I appreciate. And since we're in the joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen, they're going to retain, I would entertain a motion to adjourn our joint meeting at 7:21.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the joint meeting with the select board at 7:21.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Dave Walker, yes.
Carol Hoff says yes.
Mary Jane Churchville, yes.
John Hayes, yes. We're unanimous. We stand adjourned. From the joint meeting.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the select board part of the joint finance committee meeting at, what are we at, 7:21?
Yeah.
I move that we adjourn the select board joint meeting with the finance committee at 7:21.
That was really good.
Okay, I second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
No, John, we have to adjourn.
Don't we have to adjourn the
I'm sorry, that
finance
was the
meeting?
joint, yeah, thank you. I was trying to pack up.
Oh, yeah, right now.
I was out of the way.
Okay.
So you need a motion to adjourn
Adjourn.
the
Yeah,
finance
would-
committee meeting at 7:21.
I'll make that motion to adjourn the finance
And
committee.
I'll second it.
And we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
David Walker's aye.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Nadine Drexel, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that was-
All right, thank you.
Now it's
Thank you-
getting
thank you
warm
for-
in here.
Yeah, no,
We're
you know,
leaving.
yes.
I'm so cold. Oh, no, over here, Veronica. Come over here.
Yeah,
Girl,
all
I
of a
did.
sudden,
Heat over
all
there.
of a sudden the heat
Yeah.
came up.
We will get out of your way.
Thank you very much, everyone. I think we are ready for 4.1.
Thursday, or whatever, Friday, Thursday.
Dawn, we have a meeting tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Is it just you and me?
I think so. Yeah, unless, did you invite Katie?
No,
Okay.
we have a
It's not-
third member is there a third member to appoint?
think
Or
so.
nobody's come forward from town?
I.
It's our, person with, finance experience. It was Dave Chanel last time,
last
but
time.
he didn't want to be
No, he didn't want
reappointed.
to come back. Yeah, that's right.
So
Now it's two.
it's you and me.
Yeah.
So we're meeting room 2
Okay.
tomorrow? Okay. I forgot what time. 6?
6, yeah.
Is that your audit committee?
Yes.
That's audit committee, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think we are at 4.1, which is review, discuss budget process and policy revision amendment. And there is a motion, only I don't know what it is.
Well, there isn't a motion until we discuss what we want to change. So the question becomes, do we want to make a motion to revise, or do we really want, or should we put this kind of as a work session item that we look at right now and discuss what it is we might want to change in here?
Okay, I have not made any notes, so if you would like to go to, we'll move 4.1 to work session.
The only thing that I would change right now
Okay.
is changing Board of Selectmen to Select Board, because that wording has changed with the new thingy, the new charter. But I really don't want to sit down and make changes to this without
Review.
talking through it, yeah.
Yeah.
Without review. So how do you want to do this? Do we want to revise it? Get the revisions done for just the wording for Board of Selectmen to Selectmen, or do we want to do this all at once in a work session at a future meeting?
I think we can do that, but I think that the selectmen to select board is an edit per a town vote already. Select board was changed with the charter, right?
Oh, I see. With the adoption of the charter, we would
Right.
automatically do this.
So it should have automatically been edited.
Well,
Every reference.
Things don't happen automatically.
I know, but I'm saying that the vote took place, the name change is changed, then any reference from the date of the charter date being accepted by the state, actually, you wouldn't have done it before that. And that wasn't that long ago. So there's been a lot of changes since the adoption by the state, or approval by the state, I should say. So it just has to go on your list of things to do administrative wise to make those changes.
The
I
other
have,
things that have to be, like town charter, Article 4. powers and duties, article town charter, any references to the town charter need to be changed in here. And I haven't gone through to say, oh, let's change this to that. So all references to the town charter, because it's the old charter, we need to look at it and see what the content is and do an appropriate update.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's a little bit more than, do we want to do this in a work session after the budget process is over for this year?
Yep, I agree.
I think that's what makes the most sense for this policy.
I
So
agree.
I would put this on an agenda for May or June, when things are quieter.
Yeah, agreed.
We should be able to do the first, maybe the first meeting in May after the annual meeting.
Okay, so let's do May after annual town meeting. Not that far away, really.
Yeah, I know. Nothing is far away, actually.
Yeah, work session agenda, and it's charter references. BOS goes to SB and charter references. Beyond that, I don't think there's, I think as far as the content of the policy goes, I really don't have a, well, let's read through it and.
Yeah, let's read through it.
Okay. All right, so.
I don't have a comment. No.
After the annual, I'm good with that.
No motion, just moving it to May meeting. All right, let's go to 4.2. And we do have a policy in front of us. The constable policy. Is there a motion?
Give me 1 minute.
Well, we have two. We do have we have the note from Chief Sartell that has agreed to do all of the tasks within their purview on behalf of the town.
I didn't see that
everything. You did see that email, except for any civil items, and anything that's needed civilly can go through the Middlesex courts.
I don't see that email.
Yeah, February 4th email.
I put it on SharePoint. I think maybe Sabrina just needs to print it. I only plopped it into SharePoint a few hours ago. So
I usually go through SharePoint on Sunday and Monday.
Do you have
oh boy, that's teeny weeny.
Yeah, and
Veronica, it's tough because we had a holiday yesterday, was a snow weekend, so lots of things.
I don't even have the entire email here. The left side is like
it's very small print.
Well, it's small print on the left side. It's not a complete email. The left side is truncated.
Oh, I have it all.
You do?
Yeah. Do you have the Part 1 Administration of the Government and then Title 7 Cities, Towns, and Districts, Chapter 41 Officers and Employees of Cities, Towns, and Districts, Section 98 Powers and Duties?
I do.
Okay.
I do that.
So,
so that's part of the Mass General Law that the chief pulled up. It basically gives the police department they have gives them constable responsibilities. So that's why they could act on that. That's why they can act on our behalf to, post, town meeting warrant articles and, things of that nature. I did speak to him earlier about it.
Okay.
Since we're typically going to be posting during like business hours, there wouldn't be a cost associated with making those postings. In terms of working the elections, that's a different story. The officers would be paid probably their overtime rate to to have a presence at a town election. But that's really a call for the town clerk to make, depending on, how, if it's a contentious, election or, what have you, they may, request a police officer at an election.
All right,
Okay.
so what?
Go ahead. Go ahead,
So
Veronica.
civil process would be served through the Middlesex County Sheriff.
Yes, that's like a,
Everything else would be done through the police department.
correct. So, for example, like, tenants that need to be served notice to quit for non-payment of rent, okay? Or whatever, a lawyer might want to have somebody served with, that would be civil. It's not criminal. So,
So so backing up then to the duties that the police would have, how does it affect the town budget and would the cost of the, working the polls be under the town clerk's office as opposed to under the police department?
That's as much as I can pull it up.
I can see it on here, but yeah, I don't know why it's coming out like that.
depends on what, the town clerk must have something in their budget for the constable now. Because, that person has been on election day, has been in town hall. So there must be a budget for that.
Correct? Is that right?
I've only ever seen one person.
Yeah, I've only seen one person too, and
okay.
I think they would be paid certainly a lot more to work the day of the election versus going out and posting the warrant articles around town.
Okay.
But I haven't had a chance to look into how much they're paid per day during an election.
Also, the, like at our town meetings, we have a police officer.
I think that's something the town clerk handles, because I haven't seen any requests come through this office to have one posted there.
Okay. I don't see it as a large expense either way, because it's not that many hours. You're talking about one day, maybe? You're talking about election day?
Yes,
yeah, typically,
or
or maybe a town election.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what I mean. We have two,
Yeah, so it's pretty minimal.
I don't see that being a big impact. I think it was more just having them take over those duties. And then we don't have to bother with constables hiring or, appointing or whatever. It's just one less thing for us to do.
So, I think as a suggestion, what you probably could do is, I'm not sure how we would do it. Keep a non-police officer constable. I wouldn't say on standby, but I mean, depending on how you want to revise this policy, if we're getting rid of them altogether, then that means there are no more viable constables that we can count on if we were to need their services.
We would just use the police department.
Like what?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying as a backup, I don't know of a situation right now. I'm just saying if you go down, depending on how you revise the policy, we could essentially just be going to the police officers for all constable related work.
For everything that the town needs a constable for.
Correct.
Right.
And anybody in town that would need a constable for other purposes would use the Middlesex Sheriff's Office.
Correct.
And deal with whatever fees they charge for that
Right.
service, whatever. They would do that individually. So as far as policy goes, then we need to go through this policy. And so if we, I'm looking at the motion here. The motion, if we were to revise the constable policy such that the Townsend Police Department becomes the designated constable for the town of Townsend.
Right. We shouldn't have a policy.
We would adopt, I think we should state that we are adopting whatever part of this policy here.
I do see a hand up, but there's no name and no phone number. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
The person with the hand up, if you want to identify yourself. Okay, I guess not.
Okay. So can we take a minute to, do you want to do this right now? Go through read the policy and make the changes in session? Or do you want to, both of us look at these out of session and make changes? So I guess I would make a motion that we revise, that we make I move that we make the Townsend Police Department the designated constable for the town of Townsend and revise the constable policy of 7/2023. Make any revisions to the policy of 7/2023 that are required, including perhaps eliminating the policy completely.
I would second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Veronica Kell, aye.
And Laura Schiffer and I. So that'll be the policy now. We'll just tweak it in a work session when you can get the agenda. Okay, thank you.
So that should be our next meeting. So
Okay.
we'll go through that and make the changes that need to be made to reflect that.
Okay. Very good. Do you have that, Sabrina?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think we go down to 4.7 now. Discuss articles for special town meeting on March 10th, 2025. What we were given by Nelson was his draft and not a final. And I have a problem with the order. So
Okay, you can change the order.
because of what we went through at the fall town meeting,
Right.
and because we are bringing back what was Article 19, I would like that moved to the beginning of the warrant and not the end.
I don't see that on the warrant.
Yes, it is. It's the end.
Number 6 right now.
It's the last one.
So Lori wants it moved to be Article 1, which I don't have a problem with. That's what we're here to talk about. Sabrina wants to say something.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
We missed 4.3.
Oh,
Oh, we did. Well, let's go back to that since we're on the warrant.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I had so many check marks on here. In fact,
actually, the same thing happened to me. I had all these check marks and that kind of.
all right.
4.3. So
4.3, public policy request policy. Public
Let's go
record
back to that.
request
We're on
policy.
4.7 right now. Let's finish 4.7 and then go back to 4.3.
Okay.
So we're gonna make Article 6, Article 1. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And that's because of the experience we've had the last two meetings held. You know, once they get the people that come for their own agendas, leave. And then we don't have a quorum.
So other than that, we can make other changes to the order. Do you want me to do we want to at least talk about the you want to talk about the articles first?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the planning board one's going to be the first article. I cut everything. I just cut and pasted verbatim what it was from before, so no changes. You mentioned if there's going to be changes made, it'll probably be on the floor.
Yeah, it'll be on the floor and it'll be sent to Adam beforehand.
And this is submitted by planning board, so that
Yeah.
should be added in here.
Okay.
So we're going to pick up Article 6, move it to Article 1, add submitted by planning board.
Yep.
Okay. So then let's go to Article 1, which will be Article 2, correct?
Yep. So this is the one that we've been discussing, which is converting the town clerk position from an elected to an appointed position. So this language is kind of prescribed by the state of how it needs to be read and how it needs to look in order for it to be binding and official.
And has Adam seen that?
No, so I haven't sent him any of this yet. He is on vacation this week, but
Right.
I confirmed with him over the weekend that he would find some time because he has his computer that he would review it for us. There's only 6 articles, and one of them he's already reviewed before. So, he was kind enough to take some time off his vacation to review the language.
Okay.
The next one is related to the price increase on the fire truck. So it's $80,790. The funding source, I kind of penciled in that we're going to borrow the money, but we're going to use ambulance receipts to pay for the payments on it. So, borrowing means, we're going to go out and get a loan for it, and all the payments will be coming out of ambulance receipts.
So on this article, Laurie, I would like to know from town council that we actually need this. That since the town has already voted
on the
for
contract,
both of these fire trucks, and this is a combined. We don't have the contract that needs to be signed, correct, for the increase in front of us in this packet, but
no,
we
not
had it previously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since this was already voted for purchase by the town, and since this price applies to both fire trucks, if I remember right, they attributed half to one and half to the other, or some such thing?
No, so
There's two different
amount,
ones.
this entire amount is for the first
First
truck,
one.
the earlier one that was ordered. The second one, which was a year later, there's no price increase on that. But to your,
But they're kind of rolled together, because if you read that, they acknowledge that we have a second fire truck coming, that they are not going to increase the price on that. If we don't accept this one, in other words, if the town says, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, cool. Does that mean we're not getting either fire truck? I want to know the ramifications of this, and I want to understand why, in fact, it has to go to the town when we've already voted to purchase these.
So
And if I remember right, we've already borrowed money for this.
we borrowed money for the first truck.
And if it's coming out of ambulance receipts, then why don't we just pay for this out of ambulance receipts and stick with the two that we have already in the books? This needs more investigation. It needs to be on this warrant if in fact we need to have this, but I want to know that we actually need to vote this at a town meeting.
Well, to that point, when this first got brought up, you had mentioned the warrant line, yeah. So I went through Adam. We even had bond counsel take a look at it. Unfortunately, there's nothing in the wording of the motion that kind of preemptively allows for a price increase.
Okay, so I want to know the ramifications if in fact this article fails. What are the ramifications on those two fire trucks if this fails? Because I think we need to be able to explain to the town why it's a good idea to pay this money. Because there's an element in town that says, oh, we're not going to pay more, but that means we are not getting the fire trucks.
The police chief, the fire chief has said current pricing on these trucks is well over $1 million, and there's about a 3-year wait. So I would say up front, those are the real world consequences of voting this down, because if we don't pay for this price increase, then we're going to lose our place in line for that vehicle
and our price.
Correct. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's well over $1 million right now. So you're talking at a minimum
More than the difference.
$250,000 more
per truck.
Right.
Per truck, because we ordered these in 2022 and 2023 with the intent that, and yes, they've raised the price. I understand that, but I also understand what's going on in the world. So I just think that we need to know exactly how this is going to work.
Right.
But I think it would be this is, we're asking for a vote on this, but we need to know the consequences if we don't vote it. We have 2 old fire trucks that have been running for 17 to 20 years. And anyway.
Yep. I'll double check with the fire chief, and I'm sure he'll be happy to attend this meeting and speak on it as well. So
okay.
So that's one article that is going to be on there.
And I would just drop these down. So Article 1 becomes Article 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
The next one is whether we would vote to hear a presentation on the North Middlesex Regional School District budget. I think they're going to be sending at least 2 representatives, one from the school committee. I think Will Hackler might be there, and someone from the school district as well. I heard it might be Brad himself, because, Gary Reese, I believe, is gonna be at the, either Ashby or Pepperell's.
Oh, yeah, we're all meeting the same night.
Yeah,
Correct. And, Nancy Haynes, the school business manager, is gonna be in the other town, so I think we might get Brad that night to
Okay.
presentation.
What number is that?
3, which is now 4.
And so
Article
what,
3.
just
the
wait a
minutes of
minute.
Article 4.
What's 5 and 6?
Article 4 becomes Article 5. I'll let, you want to talk about them?
So this one is the actual, override, warrant for the school budget. I haven't put in the number yet, the amount, because I wanted to talk to you. Are we asking for the full amount above and beyond the FY25 number? Or are we looking for the difference between, 2.5–3% increase and what they're looking for? So
it depends on the omnibus budget in my mind. It depends on, that's why I wanted to put the 2.5 in there to see what we can afford. I mean, if we have no increase, how much can we give the schools? Given everything else that we've been looking at budget-wise.
Right.
So the 2.5 needs to be in there. And my thought is to go for the amount between what we can afford to give the schools and what the schools feel they need.
Mm-hmm. And if everyone gets 2.5–3%, then anything above and beyond that would be what we're asking for in an override.
Yes. And this says it's for the North Middlesex General School District. North Middlesex region.
What about Neshoba?
They came in at like 3.77%. I'm not sure if it's worth that. We would be asking for like $12,000 from them.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it's not a lot of money.
No, but I understand. It's not worth putting in an override.
Probably not.
No.
They came in at a very reasonable assessment this year.
Okay.
And this is to be posted?
This would need to be posted on Monday, the 24th.
Monday the 24th. Monday the 20th.
Is the 24th. Monday is the 24th.
Yep. Okay. So I did notice a typo. It said fiscal year 2024 and 2025. So I need to change that.
We can look at this part again on Thursday. If we're any closer to anything. If not, it doesn't matter. Because it has to be printed or whatever.
Yeah, it needs to be posted.
Posted on Monday.
So we are asking for it specifically for the schools, or are we asking for it for the town budget? How are the other towns, what are the other towns putting in? Are they asking for it for the schools, or are we just asking for it because this is our budget and we need this much more based on what the departments have asked for?
I'm almost certain they are asking for an article specific to the school budget.
Okay.
And they may not have the same issues that we have or dealing with.
I mean, the amounts are going to be different, but all three are asking for. Well, I mean, that's why we coordinated.
Yeah, but we also have the trash issue.
Well, I understand that, but they still have the same school budget issue, so they're gonna have a specific, article at their town meeting, just on the school budget.
And we are not gonna ask, we're not gonna roll trash into this then. I don't wanna ask for an override for trash because we can charge fees for trash. We can talk about this at budget time. Let's keep this for North Middlesex.
Okay. What's the next one? The last one.
Oh, so,
What's 540 Main Street?
that's actually the, water bill, and the
Oh, yeah.
reason why, you know, it looks like it's been resurrected. Our staff actually found out, this was an article in a previous town meeting, but they had the map, block, and lot number wrong.
Oh.
So, they had 540 Main Street correct, but I think they had map 3 and like block 10, I think, lot 0. So that's clearly not the water department building. So, just to play it safe, we're just gonna reintroduce a new article to correct that error, so that we can actually legally sell the correct lot.
That would be good. Okay.
So those are the articles.
I am good with these.
So were we in agreement that the amount we would put on the school override article would be the difference between what they were asking and what we can afford to pay them?
What do you think, Laura?
I don't know.
I think we should put 2% for what we can afford to pay them.
Okay.
Because I don't know where the general budget is. I haven't seen the omnibus. I haven't seen what we're bringing in. I mean, I have seen it, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not in any state.
I agree with that.
So I would go with 2%.
Okay.
Because we have to give them we're going to give this to them anyway. It's just that the ask is so much farther along.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So I'll.
Are you good with 2%, Laurie?
I am.
Okay. So I'll do the math and figure out what a 2% increase would have come out to, using FY25 numbers, and then, the difference between that and what they presented to us at that meeting, that will be the ask.
That sounds reasonable to me.
At the in the article.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be, just doing some quick math, probably not quite $1 million, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's going to be 800, 900, somewhere around there would be my guess.
Yeah.
So once I do the
We
math.
should also have the information of what, how much per household or per 1,000 in assessment that's going to mean to the residents, taxpayers.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yep, we'll do that homework, so when it comes time to a town meeting, we can have a little presentation, and we'll explain what the implications would be for each household.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do we have to make that a motion?
You're not gonna have another meeting before it needs to get posted, so I think the motions should I think I had one drafted.
You ready for it, Laurie?
Yeah.
I move to approve the warrant articles for the March 1, 2025. I thought it was March 4th. What would March 10th?
No, it's March
not March. Let me start again. I move to approve the warrant articles for the March 10th, 2025 special town meeting, as reviewed, pending review by town council, as well as signing the warrant out of session once town council's review is complete.
Okay, I second that. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Veronica Kelly, aye.
And Laura Schifrin, aye. So let's go back to 4.3, public record request policy. Is there a motion? Do we have an as follows?
Well, I wanted to go through it first. So
Okay.
I don't have an as follows. But I will tell you that this policy is from 2006.
Yeah, I see.
You have it in front of you. And I just wanted to review it first. Because we had a public records request come in, from if you're going to take public records requests for everything that a particular person has done from 1988 to present, and you're going to sign it, turn up Uranus or something like that, then I think that most definitely our policy needs reviewed, because I definitely think we should be charging. So I wanted to look at this policy and see. I mean, that's an incredible amount of time. And if whoever Turn Up Uranus or whomever is wants to come in and go through the books, I'm certainly that would be fine. Our books are open. But for a request of that magnitude, I believe that we need to be charging. So looking through this, number one, this policy supplements by in no way is meant to contradict or supersede. I think that should be and is no, and in no way is meant, MEANT, as opposed to meant, to contradict or supersede the Massachusetts Public Records Law, MGL, blah, blah, blah. And so that needs edited, first of all. Number two, if the department is not the custodian of the records that are being requested, then the department should direct the requester to the appropriate department. I believe we are doing that. Number three, public records requests may be made verbally, in person, or in writing. Telephone requests are not acceptable. All requesters should be encouraged to put the request in writing. However, verbal requests are acceptable, provided that the request is made in person. Anytime I've made a verbal request, I've been asked to write it down. But I think this policy is fine the way it is. Number four, this is a question more for all departments. Each department is required to keep a logbook of public records requests, whether made verbally or in writing, noting the date and time when the request is received, the name and contact info of who made the request, and the documents requested. So my question is, do we have those logs? Are all departments keeping this log? Do departments even know they need to keep that log?
So I think the way things currently are handled is everything flows through the town clerk. So they're called the RAO, the Records Access Officer.
Correct.
So everything flows through the town clerk, and then behind the scenes, if the town clerk is not able to provide all the documentation, then the town clerk would reach out to the department that they believe would best provide the documentation that's being requested, and then the town clerk would, once they get all the information, they would then send it off to the requester. So-
Okay, so I would want to add a number 0. All public records requests are made through the records or made to the records access officer. That would be 0. And then under 4, remove the department and say the RAO is required to keep a logbook. And the rest of it is okay the way it is. So
I really always thought that the way it was. I didn't think it went.
Policy. So
Okay,
we should
so
make the
let's put it in
policy
because that's the way it is.
make it reflect what it
Right.
is. In accordance with Massachusetts Public Records Law, the responding department, let's just say the RAO, must respond in writing within 10 calendar days of the request by doing one of the following: providing the requested documents, indicating that the requested documents will be provided by a date certain, or indicating that the requested documents will not be provided with explanation of why the documents are not public. Denial should only be made after consultation with the town administrator.
Okay.
Number 6, in accordance with Massachusetts Public Records Law, a requester has the right to inspect and examine available public records under the supervision of the custodian and need not be furnished with copies of the public records unless so requested.
Okay. Don't they have to pay for that? If they want
Number
to, they have to pay for it? Okay.
The number 7, that's where payment is addressed. In accordance with Massachusetts Public Records Law, a department may charge for copies of public records as well as the time spent to produce the requested documents. And
Okay.
that's where I think the, grapefruit head case, or whatever the name of the person is, Turnip or Uranus, we should, the departments that are affected by that request should take a look at it and estimate the amount of time it's going to take for this to be resolved. Departments should provide an estimate to the requester of what the cost will be before the work is done. So departments should provide an estimate to the RAO of what the cost will be before the work is done. And the RAO should pass the estimate on to the requester.
Okay.
The estimate must be in writing for any requests estimated to cost in excess of $10. And I think that we should change that to $25. But we could leave it at $10. That's. Let me get through that. And then
Okay. I don't think anything costs, I don't think you can get anything like that for labor for $10.
This estimate
It's probably going to be at least
So
25.
that means every single one will be, I'm trying to make it so that every public records request, you don't have to have a request for an amount. If you're looking for something specific, you can usually get that pretty easily. It's just that this public records request, in my opinion, is a fishing expedition against a particular person. They're looking for a needle in a haystack. Was something in the past 40 years done wrong? And if so, I want to pinpoint it. That I can't, I think that public records requests I encourage, but they should be for specific things. I want to know, what went out for the public library as an RFP in 2023, and I can't find it on the website or something like that. But when you want to know every single board and committee, every single open meeting law, every single, cost for every single department, for every single, it's kind of it's non-specific. It is a fishing expedition. It appears to be a fishing expedition.
Okay.
And
we can't
if that's
afford that.
the case, just come in. That person could come in, sit down and go through all
Yeah,
the
all the files.
minutes of meetings in 1988 were taken by hand in books. They were not
I know.
online until maybe 10 years ago, maybe. And so what are we doing here? Why are we even entertaining it in the form that it's in without going out and saying, this is going to cost you $10,000. This is staff time.
Yeah.
Our staff has enough to do without, I mean, certainly if there's a particular document that you have a question about something, you want a particular document. You have a reasonable date range, but hey, give me the last 40 years. So
Okay.
number 7 should be enforced by our records access officer. And I think beginning with this request. Number 8, all documents prior to being provided under public records request must be redacted to exclude any personal information of town employees considered by the Massachusetts Public Records Law to be private, including individual dates of birth, social security numbers, or age, and that redaction should be taken into account. And time to redact
Right. Right.
will be taken into account in the estimate given in number 7.
It's sad because there's nothing productive about this, doing this.
And so someone is going to need to take time to come up with an estimate for this. And that in itself should be part of the charge to the requester. And so I would like to, I have things written down here, which I'll make a copy of and leave with Sabrina, but my motion is to make the changes that we just discussed to the public records
policy.
And do a first reading of it at our next meeting.
I second that. Any more discussion?
Yes, we have a person in the audience who has a question. Can we entertain that, Laurie?
Yeah, who is it?
Valerie Goodrich, 128 Gaines Road, just a guess today. I just, on Massachusetts, regarding an act to improve public records, it says, first few hours of work performed to respond to public record requests will be performed at no cost. After that, an agency is recommended to charge up to $25 per hour.
How much an hour?
25.
Oh.
This is not an aspect of, so.
Okay, so we should be charging $25 per hour for the time that it takes to fulfill that request.
I'll just show you this.
Thank you, Valerie. Maybe in the policy refer to that section. That's Mass state law.
It's not state law.
It's just a recommendation based on the law that was passed.
I'm just going to put Mass.
Well, you certainly can't do less than 25 an hour. You can't. We pay more than that. And it's time that could be spent on something productive.
Yeah, so let's start with, we don't have a person on staff to do public records requests. And consequently, it's someone who has a job description and a job to do that's other than this. And certainly it's fine if it's a reasonable public records request. But when it's one of, you know, it's beyond.
Just repetitive
what we
about one person.
reasonably do. So if they want to pay someone to do this, then sure. That's,
Okay.
we have another question on the floor here. It's Harrison. May I? Can we take his question?
Sure. Come on, Harrison. Can you come to the table? Because I really can't hear you well if you're not.
I apologize. If I may, the public records law does not allow for more than $25 per hour to be charged. And that municipalities under 20,000 population can charge for the first 2 hours though. And that is municipalities over cannot. So that is something that could be included. Thank you.
Okay. I guess it would be up to the RAO individual to determine how much time has already been spent regarding certain matters.
All right, so I might want to work on number.
If it's a first timer, you know, then we understand. Or they've only asked for one or two things and it doesn't take them that long. That's one thing. But if it should be a fishing expedition, so to speak, they have to pay. The town shouldn't be paying for one person to get what they need when there's another way.
Yeah, so this request that you guys are referring to, it's on a lot of people's radars because it's a pretty big request. So I am working with the town clerk to I thought we had come up with kind of an estimate of how many hours it would take, and I think I need to double check to see if we sent it to the requester yet.
Okay, but it's good to have the policy and then they know ahead of time because we should, like I said, our tax dollars shouldn't be going for this.
I agree.
Right.
All right, are you ready to vote?
Yes, Veronica.
Motion made and, you know, we discussed. And Laura Schifrin, yes. So that was 4.3. And okay, I am thinking we are at 4.8. Discuss March 1st, 2025 budget summit schedule and select board budget.
Mm-hmm. 4.8.
Veronica? What is the budget summit schedule? I did not see that.
I'm looking here.
I put it on SharePoint. I kind of, since I wasn't here last year, I kind of used last year's budget summit schedule as a framework.
Okay.
I think finance committee, I believe, is if their budget is kind of buttoned up before the budget summit, they don't really need to make an appearance to sort of, you know, represent their budget. I think it's for the bigger departments that haven't necessarily come to these joint meetings. We kind of need them to be there to you know, present and ultimately defend their budget. So last year it was police and fire that were first. We did police, but the chief wasn't there. The fire budget isn't scheduled to be reviewed until next week. So you know, maybe they just have a smaller window to speak on in the budget summit if, if we've already buttoned up all the questions during the joint meetings.
This looks good to me. I mean, I've done these budget summits before. And this looks good. I would like to put the town clerk on here because we have a question about salary there. That whole budget is going to change, given Kathy's retirement.
Yep.
Agreed.
So can we put that at 12 p.m.?
Is the town clerk isn't under general government?
Is it? If it is, that would be fine.
I would think so. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it is.
Okay, I'll agree with you.
It's not in the list.
What's that?
It's actually under elected boards and officials.
Oh. Well, yeah,
It's not, it's because it's the only job, well, the only paid elected
Correct.
is election workers and the town clerk. And the town clerk's budget is set at town meeting by the town. No other elected officials are paid, elected or appointed, with the exception of election workers and the town clerk. And so, we need to look at that in our budget because that is going to change.
And I've already, Callie's been out for a little bit, but I was going to research about what the new town clerk's salary would be.
Yeah, we need to look at that. Same with certification. So the certification line is going to go away for 2026. And also it affects the 2025 budget because the position will be in effect for the last 2 months of 2025. So we really need to look at that. Stipends, longevity, that's going to go away with this. So this budget, we need to look at the 2026 budget realistically as far as this goes.
So I'm hoping to get most of those answers by the budget summit itself. I should be able to.
Okay. Yeah, we should have that then. So I am good with this, but I do want the town clerk put on, and I would do it at 12 p.m. unless we want to do it earlier.
That's fine.
Although culture and recreation, that includes the library, correct? Yes. Let me look at this. Where does the town clerk sit? Town clerk sits with general government. So let's keep it there.
Okay.
All right. So town clerk will be at 10. All right, so 9 a.m. fire and police, 10 a.m. general government, including the town clerk, but not including the treasurer. Why is that?
I don't know. It was set up that way. I just took last year's schedule.
And used it, okay. 11 o'clock highway and streets, human services plus landfill. And then 12 o'clock culture and recreation and treasure. That looks good to me. So do we need a motion? Okay, so we haven't done the budget yet. I'm doing two motions here. I make a motion that we accept the budget summit schedule for Saturday, March 1st, as just discussed.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye.
Okay, so that's that. Now let's go to our budget, the Board of Selectmen budget.
Yep.
All right, I have the omnibus budget up here. This is what you sent me way back when. It's V1.
Yes.
Okay, so is this what we have? So it's a little bit different from there. All right, so
I can, let me see if Hartley, can you give me share screening privileges?
Thank you.
So what's up is similar to the budget sheets that you've seen for all the various departments. So, we'll go through it. For labor. Now everyone knows what I make. Not that it was a secret.
It's not a secret.
Nope. So my contract is it's a 5% increase from year 1 to year 2. Year 3 is only a 2.5% increase. That's for the later year. So that was that was sort of how the previous selectmen structured my contract. Let's see. Then we're down to Sabrina. 4% increase.
Looking for that here. Pages.
So you have Sabrina, now you have Callie, the HR manager, that's also at 4%. Then you have Rebecca Morse, the wellness coordinator, also at 4%.
And one of those comes from ARPA.
Correct. Callie's position will be fully funded through ARPA in FY26. And Becky's was voted to not be funded by ARPA. So if I may, what Elise earlier was referring to was, I kind of had some preliminary discussions with her. Given, Becky's position is not funded by ARPA at the moment, there's certainly concerns whether we can, afford to fund that position. Since she's sort of embedded in the senior center there, and she does a lot of work with seniors as well as other demographics. One of those grants that the senior center gets, we were hoping to have her do some of those administrative responsibilities, and they're estimating close to half of her salary could be covered by one of those grants. So that would really, fill a gap in their personnel, but also help us with the budget as well.
I would like to see these put at 40,000 each of them. And mainly because I don't want to lose either position next year. And if you look at the omnibus budget, the way things were budgeted last year, the town has been putting in 10,000 a year to try to build up to those salaries.
Correct.
So I would like to see, we have 40,000 in ARPA funds. I would like to see each of these at 40,000. So that we hold that position, both of these positions for next year. And we actually use the 40,000 for the wellness coordinator this year, coupled with the 33,000 roughly of COA funds.
Making that switch, I've just sort of been talking, to the senior center. I haven't really run this by Becky yet. I need to sort of sell this idea to her that, some of your hours every week, probably I would say between 10 and 15 hours will be, supporting administrative tasks for the senior center. So I need to certainly run this by her too, to see if she's, willing to sort of make that pivot, because at the moment she's, she's pretty independent of what she does. It certainly keeps her quite busy, but, now we're having her to sort of switch gears a little bit. So, I definitely would want to speak to her. Not that we couldn't at least put on paper right now how we would like the salaries to be structured. I certainly would like to run it by her to see if this is something she's willing to sort of learn and take on. But I'm estimating between 10 and 15 hours a week. So
for budgeting purposes and looking at the omnibus budget, I would like to see 40,000 next to community services coordinator and 40,000 next to human resources manager.
Okay.
Because I want to preserve those positions for next year.
Okay. That's
what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
And the 73,267 that's ARPA is like poof, it's hidden. It's there. So we would have the money in our budget combined for the one position and ARPA for the other. And then next year, hopefully we have the funds in town that we can add more to each of these to fund the positions, if not at full-time, at almost full-time.
So you wanted, right now it's 20,000 each. You wanted
40,000
each, okay.
And that would easily fund the entirety of Becky's salary if in fact the COA couldn't come through with it. And it would preserve the positions on the books for both people. Because, last year we funded them both, but we had, if you look at this, it was like 20,000 for one, 20,000 for the other. And that money has probably never been touched. It will be used for transfers at the end of the year. But but right now, that's just what I think.
I do.
It's just a way it's a placeholder, and it gives us the funds to fully fund the community services coordinator if in fact the senior center doesn't want to do that. I think these are both very important positions.
Right. I mean, would you be amenable to 30,000 each? Because that's sort of we've been stepping up 10,000.
I'm good with that. If in fact we can make, it means though that we wouldn't have quite enough to fully fund the community services coordinator. Unless COA came through with some funds.
Right. Yeah. And if they came with some amount,
they would need to come up with 13,000, almost 14.
Yeah. So.
And I'm pretty sure that the community services coordinator does work with the senior center now anyway.
Oh, they do, and that's why I thought the idea that kind of makes a lot of sense.
It was where we were gonna go with that position. It was supposed to roll into an assistant director position full-time at the Council on Aging.
So why don't I talk to I'll talk to Becky, and then if she's amenable to the idea, I'll circle back to the senior center and have them come up with a solid number for me. And then that may determine how much we need in the general fund budget to cover the rest of her position.
Okay, I'm good with 30 and 30, but I would rather have 40 and 40.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind, and if we need to split the difference, then,
Okay. Are you good with that, Lori? I can't see you anymore because we're screen sharing. Are you good with 30 and 30 instead of 40 and 40?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Let's see.
Do we have the temporary help line still? Are we putting that in or no? I think we should. I don't see it in this.
Yeah, just double check. You're right, it's not there. Let me see. Yeah, temporary help is at 10,000. Actually, 1 second. Can I
Like the BBA? I think we're over.
No, I can share the bus. Yeah, temporary help, we are over budget, but I think that was because
of the town administrator leaving.
Yeah, the overlap, there were, I think Ross and I overlapped by 2 weeks, and then he was doing some additional work, aggregation, and he put in a few hours here and there, like answering some of my questions, and I mean, there was plenty of hours that he didn't charge for. But there were some longer emails that he had sent me, so yeah, we are definitely over in that.
But what do you think for next year? Do you think we'll need it? I think it's a good line to have, and I think it's a good line to fund at some amount.
Yeah.
I know that it wasn't always.
I mean, last year we were budgeted at 10,000 and we were 4,000 over budget.
Yeah.
And this year we're almost 15,000 over budget. So I think keeping it there just in case.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
And then in terms of expenses,
pretty much what the fund.
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting. Professional services, we do seem to go over that line every year, but we kind of underspend in other categories. So,
did we need the land transfer? Or that was because we were going to, it was for Warren Road, and we were going to split some of that off and do a survey and sell the back part to Fish and Wildlife because it matched Hunting Hills or Hickory Hills or whatever that wildlife management area in Lunenburg is. 2 H words. That was why that.
Okay.
So do we need that?
Probably not. I just kind of level funded everything without
Right.
sort of knowing the history about some of the
That's why that was there. That was something that we didn't put in before. We added that 2 years ago. And I think it just was never used. Is it in the BVA as used? No, yeah. I think we can remove that. That was the purpose for that. And it offsets some of the additional stuff in the HR and community services. Yeah. Even though it's in a different category. Overall.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So, let's see, so professional services, town reports, professional services, webmaster, that's MetroGov.
Do we have a contract with them? And is their contract level funded? I think their contract is on the web's page.
I believe it is too.
Under Board of Selectmen.
It's just under contracts.
Maybe town administrator. Contracts, yes. Okay, so if we go down to vendor contracts, MetroGov Solutions, how many years is this contract for? FY 25.
Actually, they are due to expire.
It is?
End of June.
Oh, wow.
I believe I got enough quote from Metro.
Let's just leave it there. And if you have a quote, since we're getting rid of land transfer, we can up that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I need to find in my emails, but I had reached out to MetroGov for a quote, and it was right around that, what was budgeted.
Okay, all right.
Let me see, we have office supplies. Other supplies. Travel mileage budget.
Do you know what has been spent so far
In which one?
for the last fiscal year?
For which one?
None of them show where you are today.
Well,
So
the BVA does.
Yeah, let's see.
January 2025. Okay, let me get to this. I have to get to the top. And I can tell you. Okay, so which one did you want to know, Lori?
You're muted.
Lori?
look like they're spending all of it.
Well, which one do you want to look at? Town reports, we have, we've spent 59%. Other supplies, we've spent 31%. Travel, in state, I think we're at 50%. Other charges, we have 3% left.
Well, the small ones are, I mean.
Or we've spent 3%, I'm sorry. So the one that we've spent the most is communications. We've already spent 75%. This is the January BVA. So we're about halfway through the fiscal year, maybe, one additional month.
What about the dues?
We should be right around 50.
5,000 for dues and memberships.
Dues and memberships, we've spent 50% on that.
And that's for 6 months?
Yes, roughly. July, August. Yeah. So we should be at 50%. Roughly for everything. Having spent 50%. For communications, we've already spent 75%. I don't know why that is. Anyway, okay.
They're level funded. Okay.
So we're in pretty good shape, I think.
Yeah, for the select board budget, yeah, not a lot of changes. Am I allowed to talk about parts of the budget that do concern me?
Yes.
Is that allowed?
Yes, that's
it's definitely on the insurance side of things, the health insurance in particular. We got back a quote from, our carrier Maya, and it's at 15.5%
increase.
Yeah, which is substantial when the budget is already. Let me give you an example. It's just under $1 million, I believe. No, actually, it was just over $1 million, almost 1.1 last year. So a 15.5% increase. Now you're at $1.25 million. That's.
So where else can we go? I mean, are there? Who does the negotiations with Maya?
I mean, I'm not sure there's really much quote unquote negotiation that happens.
But who looks at things like deductibles and those sorts of things?
I think in recent years, HR, they've looked at the deductible levels, and it's kind of like a balancing act, and we're kind of at that sweet spot, because once you start increasing deductibles, you're really passing on,
depending on the health of the person with the insurance. Yes.
Yeah. And they kind of look at everything across the board as well. But I will say this: we have now asked for a different tier, because right now health insurance, it's the employee or a family plan. There's nothing in between. There are certain folks that maybe it's just the employee and a spouse, for example, or maybe employee and a child. So we've requested that additional tier to be added. So the benefit is twofold, I would say. It opens up options for employees that don't quite need a family plan, but an individual plan is not enough. So there's some savings there, but there's also savings on the town side, because the town pays 75% of whatever premium that's paid out. So if now you're paying a smaller for a smaller less expensive rate plan, then you might see some savings there too. So
okay, well, that is a concern. Might be a reason to ask for more in the override.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because a 15.5% increase is it's not sustainable. But the health insurance has sort of been.
It's one of the reasons why North Middlesex's increases so much. One of the reasons. So,
yeah, they have health insurance costs as well, and I believe in their budget documents, they're advertising somewhere between a 10 and 12% increase in their health insurance too.
That's right.
You know, property taxes, that's another big one. You know, our general liability, we don't have an exact number from them. It's too early, but I've been.
Or general liability, you're saying property, you mean?
Yeah, general liability.
General liability insurance.
Yep.
Okay.
That's going up 10% as well. So, so, you know, just those line items, it's basically using up every last of our, you know, 2.5% override, or I mean, not, I'm kind of exaggerating, but it's using a significant amount of, you know,
our property tax,
our tax levy.
Okay. All right. Other concerns?
The schools is obviously a big one, and obviously trash, but we have to figure out what to do with that. So,
do you want my opinion on trash?
Of course.
My opinion on trash is we scrap the purple bags, we charge everybody a fee. That's what I think. And if you work it out, I don't have a calculator with me, but it comes out to between $22 and $25 per quarter per month. Is it month or quarter? Per household. Per month. $22 to $25 per month for trash pickup.
So that's $100 a quarter, 400 for the year.
Right.
Okay.
If you're doing it straight with Shaw's, you're doing 40 a month to 50 a month.
Yeah.
And so it's less than that than contracted privately. The thing about the purple bags is we aren't going to bring in enough to cover the cost of the contract. And even though the Board of Health wants to do the one where we only pay for them to run their trucks around town, we have the tipping fee open-ended. Cool. With purple bags, we could pay for that, but we don't have money to pay for the open-ended piece unless we charge a fee per month, which comes out to about $10 per month per household. But I just think that we can't say you're paying $10 a month and you have to buy purple bags. That would be less for some people, more for others. And it makes everybody in town pay something to town for trash. So those are our two options. There's a fee involved next year, regardless, for trash, if we're doing trash ourselves. And if we're not doing trash within the town, if we're not going to sign any trash contract, then everybody has to sign their own individual one, and that's more expensive. So that's I just feel like instead of doing you're going to pay $10 a month and you have to buy purple bags, why not just say, scrap the purple bags and pay a fee? But I like the purple bags. I think it makes you think about your trash, which is a good thing. And it means that people that are a one-person or a two-person household, it's less expensive if you have a fee and the purple bags. But people will complain about, you're making me buy purple bags and you're making me pay a fee. Well, if everybody in town bought into the purple bags and didn't contract privately with Shaw's, we probably wouldn't need the fee. But people aren't going to do that. They're going to say, oh, the town's doing this to me. I'm going to buy my own trash. And we're paying for them for town pickup. Those of us who aren't contracting privately. The town is paying for trash for every household right now. Yet we have 10 to 20% of the town who has gone off and done their own thing, and we're all buying purple bags. So that's my diatribe on trash.
So if we go the complete other way and, do away with the pay as you throw, we would lose out on that grant that we had received, which was $62,000, which is, not an insignificant amount. of
But we
money.
have to spend that by the end of June, correct? So what we could do, if we did keep purple bags, we could buy a whole bunch of purple bags with that 62K and give some to TEO to hand out to Townsend people with food distribution. Give some to the senior center for the people that, can't afford it. For, any hardship cases, we could give out purple bags, use some of that money to give out purple bags.
I believe that the state did somehow give us a 1-year extension on using the 62,000.
So we wouldn't have to do it by the end of June.
Right, but we certainly could because we actually have enough expenses. We can certainly use some for like educational stuff, which I believe the Board of Health was very interested in doing, which I think is great because I feel like, some folks are not informed enough about, what you can or can't throw away, recycle more, compost more. I think if we got some educational materials out there, we can sort of change some the habits of some folks, and I think that might reduce the tonnage.
Can we buy compost bins, and charge people a nominal amount of money for them? You come to this lecture about composting and you can leave with a bin for $5, or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We can.
Board of Health can figure it out, but in any event, it's either a fee for the whole thing or it's a fee plus the purple bags.
And, some towns actually do a combination like that. They're charged the fee, but I guess this is the distinction. You voluntarily pay for that fee. So you get that, you pay the fee, and then you have to buy the bags. But
what do you mean voluntarily? How does that work? Because who's going to volunteer to pay a fee?
In some of these cities or towns, they have transfer stations, which I maybe it's not really an apples to apples comparison, but some places do a combination. You have to pay a fee, and then you have to pay for the bags, but for the most part, there is a transfer station involved to be able to accept all the material, which the recycling center certainly cannot handle that type of volume.
We aren't a transfer center.
No, exactly. So, but yeah, that's a tough one.
So it would be better to take the lower, the all-in contract, because then we know. Without the all-in contract, if we just do the trash pickup, there is we have to put away more than what it's what, $780 for everything. I would say we have to do 900 to $1 million because we don't know what that tipping fee is going to be.
Right.
And then, so we charge everybody a fee. And if we're below on the tipping fee, well, then we have that much money if we put it somewhere that we could, the following year, not charge as high a fee, maybe. I don't know.
But I think a fee, say $100 a year, that's
if we do that's $10 a month, $120 a year, and we're doing purple bags.
Yeah, I think that would be a good compromise. It's a middle of the road approach.
That can work.
Yeah.
Okay, we're 3 hours now. So how long do you want to go?
Well, I think we're good. Did you guys need to actually take a vote on the select board budget, or we were just talking?
We're just talking about it.
Okay.
We'll
Let's do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to take a vote on that. Okay.
Okay.
Was that our last one in the meeting business?
Yeah.
Yes. And now we're work session. Is there anything on the under 5.0 with the ARPA projects?
I think we can delete that from future
Okay.
I mean, because that's kind of done, over and done with, right?
5.1 Town Administrator's Report. Update.
The only thing I had to report was just to, I think I mentioned it to the two of you, and we talked about it in the beginning of the meeting. Erin Steffield, has put in her 2 weeks, so she is resigning, and her last day is February 26th. And
Have we posted?
we've posted it internally. This is certainly an opportunity to potentially talk about regionalizing things. Since I've started, there's always been talks with our neighboring communities to regionalize whenever there's an opportunity. And usually the best opportunity is when the positions are vacant. That gives you a little bit of wiggle room of how you want to switch things up to make it fit each town. So I'm actually going to start having some preliminary discussions with Pepperell to see what this might potentially look like, because there were talks a few months ago about a conservation agent, but we have a new conservation agent who's working out great. But those are sort of some of the things that has been discussed since I've been here. So I don't even know what that would look like, to tell you the truth, but I at least want to have the conversation with some of our neighbors. We might be able to work something out potentially.
I'm with you talking to other people. What about you, Laurie?
Yeah, also, it's been mentioned when I went to the caucus last week, MRPC, which actually was for the transportation part, but there were others that were saying that they have part-time and they're sharing with other towns. So that's not really regional, but it's a sharing. And you might want to call, I don't know if you'll get anybody this week because of school vacation, but Glenn Eaton at MRPC.
Okay.
Ask him
Good idea.
those that are doing it part-time. Because I know a number in the commission do have part-time people in a lot of the towns, because most of them are smaller towns. So I'm not talking about Leominster, I'm not talking about any of the cities, but yeah, you might try there.
Yep, and I think we kind of fall in that area at times, because as you probably know, some of our staff are 30 hours, maybe a little bit less. So if someone left, you can maybe reduce the hours a little bit and share the cost with another town that only needs someone half-time. And if you pull it together, that's, you have a full-time employee. So those are sort of the opportunities, to explore. And, with this unfortunate resignation, this might be a potential opportunity, to make, come to some sort of an agreement.
Also, if you've posted internally, it could be somebody who maybe doesn't have a 40-hour job, but has a 20-something hour job in town that may want to pick up some of the difference.
You mean they would keep their previous job and take this on as well? Or you're just talking about moving up?
No, I'm open to anything.
Right.
It works. If you have somebody that wants something enough, you don't know that until you post and people start applying, actually.
Right.
Okay. Any other
That was-
update?
That was the only update I had to provide.
Okay. 5.2 reports. Veronica, you wanted to report on Housing Trust?
I do. Do I have the ability to screen share?
We'll need to ask Hartley for that.
You can sign
have
into your
to
own computer,
That's right.
Veronica.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, you know what? I can,
Did I send it to you?
it's in the SharePoint, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to just,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to run as PowerPoint. You
Yeah.
have all the slides
Yep,
there.
I can do
So
that.
pop that up and yeah.
Yeah, it's just a PDF.
And then have to, well, maybe I'll play it on my screen just for fun.
So, let's see.
You have to start, yeah, that's the last one. All right, so I just wanted to give a status update for the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. So go to the next slide, the next page, yeah. All right, significant dates just for people that aren't familiar with us. In January 2020, or with this board, the special town meeting voted to form a housing trust. And in October 2020, the first board of the trustees was appointed by the selectmen. In May 2022, at annual town meeting, 6 properties were identified by the Town Properties Committee to be transferred to the Housing Trust, and that was voted positively. In spring 2023, the board of the trust, through a DLTA, District Local Technical Assistance Grant, through MRPC, had a 5-year plan completed. What were we going to do with those 6 properties that were given to us? How were we going to proceed? So after looking at that, the trustees did a lot of work and spoke to Mass Housing Partnership and applied for a technical assistance grant, which we were granted a year ago in January 2024. And in January 2025, we now have a housing concept on one of the properties. So next slide. This is the purpose of the trust. Trust is to provide for the preservation and creation of affordable housing, which is workforce housing and age-restricted housing for the benefit of low and moderate income households in town. And you can see this statement is from the Townsend General Bylaws. And our mission, and this is from the 5-year action plan, is to accept property for the development of affordable housing or to purchase property, to be guided by the housing production plan, which is something that the housing authority is required to have in place for the town, and to facilitate development work to create affordable housing in Townsend. And our goal is to have a project started on a property by 2027. So this is just a statement on the area median income. We are lumped with towns in towards Boston. Groton, Pepperell, Dunstable are lumped with Lowell. And the numbers are a little different. There's a lot that we can talk about on this. Their numbers are lower, which means that the cost of the housing is lower because it's based off of your median income. So that means affordable housing in Townsend is more expensive than affordable housing in Groton or Pepperell or Dunstable. So Erin Steffield, who our land use coordinator that's leaving, we worked with HUD to figure out what we could do about that. And we can't change our HUD area, but we can, through a bylaw, work out numbers that are specific to Townsend and make it fit our area. So we're hoping to work on that. Next slide. These are where our properties are. So if you start in the center, that is the Dudley Road property where Atwood Acres and Townsend Woods is. And we have the 11 acres that surround it. Pretty wet and not ideal. If you go to the left, oh, thank you. To the left, that's the corner of West Elm and Blood Road. There are 7 acres there. Those two properties are adjacent to each other, and they have no environmental constraints. If you go to the right side of the screen, that is Wallace Hill property, and we are currently putting a forestry plan on that. And the little piece is a 2 to 3 acre piece of property that I'll show you our timeline. We're considering offering to Habitat for Humanity. And then down at the bottom is the property that's on South Row Road. And that is about 21 acres, and that the town actually had a development worked up in 2007 for affordable housing. It was done by Ross Associates, and the town decided it was too expensive to put in place. So they did not go forward. So if you look at these properties, you think, we should do the 2 big ones first. But the problem with Wallace Hill is that it has no town water, and that makes it incredibly expensive to develop. We met with Rick Metcalf at Neshoba Board of Health about that property. And then South Row Road is the other big one, but it has more environmental constraints in that there are a couple streams that run through there. And so you have to take that into consideration. It makes it more expensive to develop.
Ron, I had a question.
Sure.
The parcels that don't have town water, have you talked to Dave over in water? Because he has plans to, I believe, extend certain neighborhoods. Maybe there might be some collaboration.
Okay. So let's talk about town water. The Dudley Road has town water. Blood Road has town water. In fact, we gave the water department an easement on there 2 years ago. Hasn't been recorded yet. But they have an easement on that property so that they can have a pumping station there. And it will increase what goes up the hill to Lunenburg. We talked about it in capital planning the other day.
Oh.
So the Blood Road property has town water. South Row Road now has town water on either end with the treatment plant going in and the extension up to Emery Road. Used to be that we only had town water on Hickory. Can you lift that up a little bit so that people can see this?
You want to go north?
Or yeah.
And
No, not that way. The other lift. The other way. I want to see South Row Road. Yes, there. So we used to only have in from Hickory off of Timberley. Now we have access to water on both sides. So we also have access to water on South Row Road side, which is a good thing. The one that doesn't have water is Wallace Hill. Those 2 pieces. So go to the next slide. Let me see which one it is. Okay, so let me talk about this. Massachusetts Housing Partnership is a quasi state agency. They're funded partly by the state and partly from other sources. They support communities, housing authorities, nonprofit housing organizations in the creation of workforce housing. So we got a technical assistance grant. And looking at the properties, the focus is now Blood Road Extension, West Elm Street. So go to the next one. Let me look at the timeline on this. So this was our timeline. Our 5 years are from fiscal year 2024, which is when we had the 5-year plan done, up through 2028. We have changed this every year. This is the most recent one. We updated it last week. So the 2 large pieces of property, South Row Road and Haynes, we are doing a forest cut on those 2 properties in order to have some funds for creating housing. And we won't be doing anything with those 2 properties for a while. The Haynes Road, the smaller piece, We were gonna talk to Habitat for Humanity to possibly put a house on that parcel. It does have environmental constraints. There's a stream to the right-hand side that comes through there, so that's still out there. Dudley Road is the last one that we'll look at. And Blood Road and those two parcels, they have been looked at through MHP. The wetlands have been flagged, the streams, the offsets from the stream on the next property. So although the stream isn't on the property, we still have to have buffers, the 100-foot, 50-foot, 35-foot, those wetlands are delineated, and wetland delineations are good for 3 years. So our next thing is to talk to different organizations in town, to the townspeople as a whole, to see what concept they have of what they would like to see, and to get out an RFP for development on those two properties. And then the other thing that we're looking at is Atwood Acres reverts to market rate in 2029. So we as a town need to be making sure that that remains affordable. And so there's a lot of work to be done, but we have plenty of time to do it between now and then. So
May I ask, when it's due to revert to market rates in 2029?
Yeah.
How simple is it to keep it as affordable housing? Is it just
it's not our property. It's our cap. It was transferred to them. And so it's going to be, there are processes, and it depends. We have to talk to RCAP and see what their thoughts are on this.
If they say no, is that just the end of discussion?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But it would take funds to change that. We have 53 units there of affordable housing. We have only 4% in town of affordable units, and the state goal is 10%. So, so that is something that the trust will look at, but it's really the housing authority. And at the moment, we don't have a functioning housing authority. So that's sitting out there until it's looked at. So let's go to the next one.
Owns it.
Laura, what?
I don't think RCAP owns it. I think HUD owns it.
Who owns it? HUD, yeah. And so the HUD, just because it's HUD does not necessarily mean it's going to go back to affordable. It depends. And so RCAP manages it. And
Right.
so we need to have discussions. This needs to be, just because it's a HUD property doesn't mean it's not going to go market rate. So anyway, that needs looked at. And I haven't looked at it yet. So long-term forest management on Haynes Wallace Hill and the South Road properties, it's to produce immediate income for supporting affordable housing, to enhance wildlife habitat. This is a 60% cut, and more in the middle of the property. We put buffers along the roads so that it won't be cut completely. We want to support long-term health of the forest, because otherwise it's just going to be sitting there for a good long time, and to improve the recreational opportunities that exist on the area already. So that's the goal for those two. This is a concept that we got back just 2 weeks ago from MHP. This takes into account, that's 7 acres. And it's wooded, and we would like to see it remain wooded as much as possible. They took into account the town zoning bylaws. This is the most that could go on there. It doesn't mean that this is what's going to go on there. It's concept only. It is 10 buildings, 20 townhouses. So 2 townhouses like on either end. If you look at those things. They're kind of split. 2 townhouses, 3-bedroom with a 1-story in between, 5 1-bedrooms. So 5 of the buildings have a 1-bedroom apartment and 5 of the buildings have a 2-bedroom apartment. So 2 townhouses and an apartment in each building. So 30 units of housing on that piece of property. The purple is septic area, and the kind of bluish is stormwater. There's a walking trail that kind of goes through the whole development there. It doesn't have any covered parking. So this is a concept. This is what could go there. It's not what will necessarily go there. It's nothing that you would take to the planning board or the Conservation Commission as is. We're only just starting the conversation with the town. But now we know that we could put housing there and it could be affordable. 70% from what we've learned going to all the meetings and all the trainings that we've done to learn about this, 70% on a first pass would go to people in town. Oh, and the other thing is probably half of this would be market rate and half of it would be income adjusted, based on income. We don't know if it would be ownership or rental. These are conversations to have with the people in, the townspeople. What do people want? What does the town want? Do we want covered parking? Do we not want covered parking? Do we want different style of, but anyway, that's the max that we can get on there is 30 units in the way they have it split up. So that's where we are. I think the next slide is our budget. So again, the budget is wishy-washy. We have done the administrative assistant for 2 years. So we've spent about 10,000, between office supplies. This is not what's been spent. This is what we budgeted. So FY26, again, administrative assistant, which Aaron took the land use coordinator. We have no housing administrative assistant right now for either the housing authority or the housing trust. We have office supplies, registry fees. Every year we do have to do things at the registry. We have to file with the registry all resignations and appointments and various other things, because we are a trust within the state of Massachusetts. We do have money up there because we do have a concept that we're hoping to get in place, pre-evaluation and development, the 50K. We're hoping to hire consulting for the RFP and for the disposition of the land. Where do we go from here? And that is our budget. So we are largely unfunded, is what it comes down to. So anyway, so mandate by the town without any funding by the town, other than ARPA funds, which we do have at this point as of today. So that's where we stand with that. So any questions? That's the last slide. It's the question slide.
No, I was just saying that's a mandate by the state, not by the town. It's our responsibility according to the state mandate.
But that's not true. The town is the one. You don't have to have a housing trust. The trust was put in place by the town. It is separate from MBTA.
Yes.
The state does say 10% of affordability, but we haven't done anything in town beyond Atwood Acres and Townsend Woods to do it. Anything other that's affordable in town is 40B, and we're losing those left and right.
That house,
so the town said, let's have a housing trust, but you don't get any money. So, there hasn't been a warrant article to put even $10,000 towards affordable housing. And the planning board doesn't exercise the affordability clause. So hopefully we'll get an inclusionary zoning bylaw on the books soon, which could help with funding. We don't have money to buy up an affordable house if it goes off the affordable list. We, the town, don't have funds for that. And so there it goes. So it's a mandate by the town, and then it was voted in a town meeting, but it was voted in without any funding. That's what I mean.
I guess that's how government works.
It is.
Yes.
I have learned.
As we have learned. And again, I'm going to mention, and I don't know if that one is going away, but Turnpike Village was all affordable housing done by Benjamin Builders. So
it isn't all anymore. You can look at the list at the SHI and see. It's the entire thing is not, I don't think.
Well, I haven't looked at it, recently, and I know that we have one Habitat house that's affordable that won't be going anywhere.
Right, we do that.
But anyway, it's a lot.
So that's where we are. I just thought I would show you where, and anybody that watches this tape to know what it is where we are with this. This is where we are and what to expect going forward.
Yeah.
So.
Great job. I mean, the town did give you all those lots that you
and we are working on it. Yeah, we are working on it. And hopefully there will be a development out there eventually. So within the next, few years. So the RFP, we're hoping a year, to have it in place now. So we're probably looking at 2 to 3 years before anything goes in the ground.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it.
When we did Town Woods, it was 7 years. 7 years in the.
Yeah, that's, we were told 10 years isn't unusual, so 7 years is good.
And the Habitat one, just to say, did come quicker, although it was a town effort. Many locals helped with that. And I would say that was probably within 2 years of when we started that, but then it's just one building.
Right.
Okay, thank you for the report. Okay, so the next one is the amendment to the liaison assignments. We haven't discussed this yet, but I know that my notes are in the folder under 4.4.
I agree with you on the Historic District Commission. Since you're on that commission, you should just be the liaison.
Right.
You can, the purpose of the liaison is to report back to the board, and you're on that committee. So
right.
if I were the liaison, then we would have quorum of the select board. That would not be good. So
I know.
Anyway, so I agree with you. You should be.
Any other one that is like that, right?
I think that's the only one. Because you're on anything else that you are on, you're the person.
Yes. Okay. Are we taking care of the, we did put that back in the budget, right? For the inspector of animals?
We did.
I just have that note here, so I'm just bringing it up again.
That's under me, yeah. And then the two things I had, you have a different liaison schedule than I do. That's an older one. I have the one that Sabrina sent out that has committee assignments. And I thought that I should be added Squanicook Meadows CR committee. And Laura, you should add it to your committee assignments as Cable Advisory Committee.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's what I had. So I sent those to you, didn't I, Sabrina?
No.
I didn't send you an email?
Okay,
not hit send.
Sabrina, I agree with those. So can you update this list? Because mine still has not the right heading and everything.
Yes, I did, 2:49 PM. Liaison assignments, kind of like
Okay.
the SharePoint.
Now, Sabrina, now
Yeah.
that could you just get a clean one for us?
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I was asking was under where it has the name and then the email, are those all correct? Have those been updated? Well, I guess we're gonna have another, Aaron's gonna come off.
Yeah.
Teresa comes off, capital planning. There's a number of changes that have to be made.
Madam Chair.
Right now, there's no bylaw committee.
Yes, there is. I'm on it.
Who's chair?
Bill Cadigan.
When was the meeting?
We were reappointed in June. I was sworn in this summer. I know that.
Okay.
We were reappointed.
When was the last time you met?
Right around town meeting time, annual town meeting. Right before it, May.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, because nothing.
And then we all got reappointed. Anybody that wanted to be reappointed at least was
Okay.
reappointed in June.
And then we have a conservation agent now, so that name and email should go there. So can you just do the updates, Sabrina?
Sabrina, I think, has already done it because on the one I have, Colby is on there already.
Yeah.
I think you've already.
Okay.
Old version of the list. The older version of the list.
I thought I printed this one off today, but I guess not. Okay. That'll be updated. And then the only other, do you have anything else that you want to say under general government or public safety?
Only that the new police cars are in. So just know that if you want to go check them out.
Are they electric? Just check.
They aren't electric. I don't think so. Not this time around. I don't think so.
All right. So I just want to say on mine, because I have the water department. Okay. I think they're having a lot of concerns at the water department. And unfortunately, and I was going to ask you if this would be something that you could do, a Monday night, they meet when planning board meets. And of course, I will be done with planning by April. So this would only be a short term, but Veronica, could you do Monday night's meeting?
Water commissioners?
Water commissioners.
Yep.
And Nelson, if you could fill in Veronica with anything that she might need to know regarding that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I filled both of you in separately on the same issue, so she is aware maybe of everything except for maybe you did join the last water board meeting.
Because my planning board got over early and I only missed 15 minutes of it. So that hour.
Yeah, so that was definitely a long conversation related to their concern about
their meetings are on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Veronica, I want to just, if you have a moment, look at some of that meeting so that you can be with what is going on.
I can do that. Okay.
I would appreciate that because I really feel bad. I think they need some help. So if you could report back then at our next meeting, after that, we can have a report on how they're going, or even if they want to come and meet with us, together, might be a good thing.
I'll watch the meeting.
And that's all I have under the reports. 5.3, announcements, communications, volunteer response forms. Have we received any?
I see that there's a couple resignations here.
Do you want to announce?
Okay, William Burke has submitted his resignation as the Townsend representative to the North Middlesex Regional School District School Committee. Let me see, Fran Levi has submitted her resignation as a member of the Townsend Cultural Council effective immediately. Patrick Kawanchik has submitted his resignation as the associate member of the Townsend Planning Board effective immediately. And Erin Stuffield has submitted her resignation as the Townsend Land Use Coordinator effective February 26th, 2025.
So that's all the good news we have?
And I have no volunteer response forms here.
All right. Anything else, Nelson?
Nope, I'm good.
5.4, our next meeting is Thursday, February 20th, 6 p.m., a joint meeting with Finance Committee. I will be virtual. 5.5, review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session. Is there a motion?
I move that we sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. 6.1, executive session pursuant to open meeting law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining if an open meeting may be a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares. This is Supervisors Union. Is there a motion?
I move that we enter into executive session at 9:38 and adjourn from executive session pursuant to open meeting law, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body regarding the supervisors union.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing no. Roll call vote.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you all very much. And I don't know, does Dave still record?
Hartley will need to stop recording and then we're gonna jump on the executive session Zoom. I'll
Okay.
send you the information right now.
Okay.